we have until the 20th to complete the finalized 2022 budget. Would you please stand for the pledge and a moment of silence, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Mike's got an agenda. That's the fastest pledge we've ever done.
I know.
And they're usually fast, too. Holy cow.
Just a couple FYIs. I'll be bringing to a board on Wednesday night, which is our regular November meeting, a motion to conduct an engineering study not to exceed $30,000. I'm going to probably make it the motion that we use ARP money. This would be an engineering study for the Miller Street, Oak Street, Chestnut Street, Chapel Street drainage area to try to alleviate some of the antiquated drainage lines that go in between people's houses and so forth and run east and west behind Miller Street, etc. Without some type of a preliminary study, engineering study, not much can happen as far as connecting the dots to apply for grants and apply for maybe possibly a funds to help people alleviate their potentially illegal hookups that they have or they inherited as homeowners. So that will be coming up at the November meeting, a motion for that. I'll also have, was contacted by CGR this afternoon. They will have a their report completed, and I'll have that available for you. If I get it before Wednesday, I will put it in your hands so that you have a chance to look at it. And then certainly if you need to or want to bring them in, that would be in December's meeting, give you a chance to look at the report and ask them any questions. Those will be two things that we need to do. Okay. Bev has put on people's desks page numbers, also some things that we have to make some decisions on tonight. Bev, do you have the court clerk on here? The decision? No. Okay. Where are we with the position of adding the court clerk, part-time court clerk to replace our clerk that resigned? I left that meeting with the impression that we were good to leave it in the budget.
Yeah.
The part-time position.
Yeah.
Because I need to know that because they need to start trying to find somebody.
Mike, I just have a question. They're closed from 1 to 5, so that gives them 4 hours to get their things done. Why do they need an extra person in there? I don't understand that.
Why they need a third person?
Yeah.
Well, you heard them. They're backed up, I guess, and you know, they're saying the two judges are saying that it's necessary. I don't know. I mean, I hear you. I hear you. It's just they're getting things done, but they're not getting things done. Things are, you know, not taking care of all the business type of thing. Again, it's something we have to decide as a board if you're going to fund the part-time position. I believe 25 hours a week that they're requesting.
It seems, if I remember correctly, that the whole closure from at 1 o'clock, that was their Seventh Circuit mentor telling them to do that.
A recommendation.
Okay.
What I found out this morning.
Oh,
And I found out this morning one of the judges didn't even know they closed at 1 o'clock. Type of thing. But it was a recommendation from the seventh jury. So when I talked to one of the judges today, you know, they said obviously with this position too, we could extend those hours. You know, that person, they're projecting that person to work 9 to 2 every day.
But then would they keep the office open?
To at least 2 o'clock. Or, you know, I don't know what time the clerks get done. 4? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I believe 4:30.
4:30.
I believe.
So I don't, you know, I think that's something, and again, just, I hate to keep saying this stuff, but elected officials, the only really control that we have over elected officials is the funding of their departments, like the clerk and the highway superintendent. Really, I don't have a jurisdiction, none of us have a jurisdiction to tell the clerk what to do. But we can cut our budget, but it's about
Well, we could make the budget contingent upon that person's hours,
So the court could stay open later.
be able to facilitate making that window stay open
support.
1 or 2 more hours at least, which would seem to be, you know, because the other part of that is all the unfunded mandates, which, you know, you know the world of unfunded mandates, not me so much, but you know, and they exist. The state hands down rules and regulations and just says go about it with no more resources. So
And they have done they've done a good job in the time that they've had, especially during COVID, of trying to get caught up on the records situation, because that's a mess. And they worked on getting their records separated and so forth. A lot of the court records are still over at Oak Street Highway Department. They're under lock and key, but it's not a building that's climate control like we have in our records facility. So my strong suggestion has been go through the records, purge what you need to purge, and then we need to get those records under lock and key in a climate control facility at our records. And we were talking about, you know, Aaron putting another petition in over there, similar to what the police department has, because the police department has records that are only available to the police department under lock and key. So I can get in the building, or anybody can get the building, but you can't get into that. I don't have a key for those police. And it'd be similar for the courts too. But still, that's still got to get done too. But yeah, I'm all in favor of contingent ban. Look, if we're going to fund this position, the court's open. Okay, and your answer to the phone.
that would be my position.
Mine too.
At least 1 hour, if not 2 hours.
Well, I mean, if that's the condition, I think we need to get that agreement before we just make the decision or make a contingent on that. So I think if we wait till Wednesday.
Yeah, I will talk to them and we'll make a decision on when.
All the other courts are when they're there. I mean, all the other courts aren't open every day, but when they're there, they're open when
Okay.
they're available.
Okay. Chief Peenstra is going first because he has a commitment, and so I'll leave it up to you, Chief.
All right, thank you. Quite a few of the different line items that we discussed right off the top are contractual. I did have Sarah, which first of all I'd like to thank Sarah and Baz for all the help on the budget through this year. They're a huge help with organizing everything for me and projecting percentages, which that I've been keeping an eye on and report to you guys from 2016 to present of where the police budget was and where it's going and why. So thank you both ladies for all your help on that. I did have Sarah, because Belle was out at the time, put a placeholder in for a 3% raise for the contractual items, but again, that's a contractual thing. We really can discuss it, but it's really kind of pointless to discuss because negotiations are there, and that's where the pay will be discussed. So that brings us all the way down to part-time officer rate. I just left that the same for 2000. That is not contractual, but I've kept that the same throughout. In fact, I've cut that in recent years. And we're now down to $10,360 for that. That's what I'm asking for that. Database clerks, that's contractual. Longevity is contractual. Overtime. Overtime is, we've been pretty close on that each year. And as you can see, in 2020, we spent just over 71,000. I'm asking for 80,000 again this year, and that's what we've had budgeted for in years past. That seems to fit. Crossing guards, looks like there's no percentage there. I thought there should be. But we should have enough funds, obviously, and that's why there's no percentage raise for that.
Are they minimum wage, Stu, do you know? Or Bev or Sarah, do you
I
know?
believe so.
They are minimum wage?
They're above.
Okay, all right.
Spreadsheet that he sent us.
They will get the 3%.
I'm old.
Yes, they will get the 3% increase.
Yeah,
But
so
there's
there's,
enough in the budget to cover.
right.
That's why everybody asked if they were
Yeah.
minimum wage now, minimum wage is going up to $13.20, which would cover the, okay.
What page is this page in the?
Page six.
Page 6. Second investigator, lieutenant, all contractual resource officer. I did work with Bev on this today. I was looking to reduce that by $5,000. After our discussion and figures, working with Bev today, we decided that we need to actually keep that at 25 based on what the school contributes for the 9 months and what Mike's salary is. So I was hoping to cut that down to 25, and Bev actually caught that for me of what we spent previous years, what the school supplements, and what his salary is. I'm going to need to increase that back up to last year's budget, which was 25. I originally asked to have that cut down to 20. That is not going to be enough in that line item.
So that's an
So it's
addition,
gotta go to 25, you're saying?
Yes.
and that's in addition to his salary, correct?
Now, the school district and the town split the salary. Went out, it's not a 50-50 split. He works for the school
75,
district.
25.
Yeah, we have a contract with the school district. So he works for the school district for 9 months, and then starting in the summertime, he's here as a regular police officer.
Right, but his salary is the same as the other sergeants, correct?
It is, it's 75.
So that 25 is in addition to that, or?
No, no.
Okay. It
No,
makes
it
up
supplements what the
It's-
school doesn't
It
provide.
makes up part of that?
That's our portion of his salary.
Yeah,
If you were to consider
Okay.
his insurance and stuff, that's why they pay the majority of his regular salary, because we cover his insurance and his retirement benefits.
right.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
That's a yearly contract, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It renews yearly, yes.
Yeah.
Educational degree award, that's contractual. Equipment, I've asked that to remain the same in 2022 as it was in 2021.
Did you spend all that?
Well, Steve, it's a little hard to tell exactly where I'm at. I know Bev's working really hard on getting the expenditures kind of caught up, but, I'm working off of July's, end of July's, and Bev's going to be working on getting me some more accurate numbers, but yeah, I will spend nearly all of that. The way I run my budget and the way I've done it since I've started as chief is I try to be like super tight with it, just in case some unknown expenses come up. And as the year goes on, if we're seeing something that we really need and there's money in the budget and I know that we're not gonna, need it for some other purpose, then I'll loosen the straps a little bit and say, okay, looks like we're gonna be able to afford this. Let's go ahead and purchase that. So there are some line items that it may look like on our expenditure sheet from July that, there's funds that aren't gonna go expended, but in all reality, I'm just got my foot on the brake waiting to make sure that nothing is going to happen and we're gonna be okay with that. Because I don't wanna go over, I hold that like I do, my own checkbook. If we have money, we have money, we can do it. If we don't, we don't.
Body cam's gonna fall under that equipment line?
No, body cameras, I explained this to Bev today, body cameras fall under the maintenance agreement because we enter an agreement with body cameras. So Bev was kind of wondering the same thing, and then I explained it to her, and she understood then, but we entered in a contract with them, with Exxon, and that's how the body cameras are pulled out of that funds.
So, as for that, I'm sorry, Stu, since you're on it, so I looked at that maintenance agreement for body cameras, fine, we're maintaining, but that's actually the procurement of body cameras as well? Are in that contract?
Yeah, so we currently, all of our sergeants and below wear body cameras. They all have their own assigned body camera. We've been doing that for years, long before body cameras were like the thing to have, right? Our current camera is, which I found out after I did the budget process, is they're not going to be warranted any longer in, I think, April of 2022. So they reached out to me a month ago and said, you know, we need to start discussing this. And I'm like, well, okay, well, I've already submitted my funds. I didn't know that the warranty was running out. So we started doing some figuring, and that's where I'm asking for that $2,500 to be added. There's some, we would get new body cameras, and then it would also get our storage, which is all of our body camera storage is on the cloud. That would be updated to fit the usage. So that's going to be done in a different line that we're going to discuss.
And when will that expire?
When did the new body cameras expire? In 5 years.
5 years?
5-year warranties on them, and they are great. Anything that happens to them at all, I mail it back, they send me a brand new unit back. No questions asked. Same with the tasers.
If the officer remembers to turn it on.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Vehicles, we normally ask for 2 vehicles a year. We determined that we can cut that down to 1 vehicle this year. So I'm asking for a slight increase in vehicle costs from $91,000 to $95,000, $2,500.
What vehicle will this replace? And one of the patrol cars?
Yeah,
The
one of the marked,
SUVs?
yeah, one of the marked patrol vehicles, yeah. Mhm.
So you say typically you ask for 2.
Mhm.
So last year, this year, budgeted was 91,000.
Mhm.
That was for 2 vehicles?
No, so we lease our vehicles?
Yep, right. 95,000 is only for 1 vehicle next year?
The 95,000 is for the total of vehicles. So if you look on your sheet that has the vehicle breakdown, it's going to show the enterprise sheet. It's gonna
Basically,
show-
because you're adding a new vehicle, the price, the cost of the lease is decreased.
So you're adding the 1 new vehicle, and then we have to outfit that vehicle as well. So you see it on this sheet right here?
Not yet, almost.
Remind me to,
It should be, Steve, it should be the enterprise or lease vehicle spreadsheet.
Yes.
the
All right. If you look at your annual lease, right? So we're leasing the vehicles for about $6,000 a year. So our annual lease is going up, but then we have to do aftermarket expenses to outfit the vehicle. All right, one time outfit for the life of that vehicle. And that's how we come up with that 95.
I was just confused because the lease in past years was somewhat about half.
Well, the
And you
more,
said we were getting an additional 2 a year, and then this year you said we're just gonna get 1, but it's 95.
so if you look in green, it's kind of hard to read, but now we're going to be, in 2022, we'll be leasing 8 vehicles, 8 more vehicles. Or 6 marked, 2 unmarked.
Yeah, you see what I'm asking on here?
So last year was 91,000, right?
Correct.
The
You
year
said,
before that.
but so this year, that was for 2 vehicles and we're paying 91,000. Year before that, because you said previous year's 2 vehicles was 53,000. Year before that, two additional vehicles, 44,000. This year, only 1 additional vehicle and it jumps, 95. It's just not clear in my feeble mind.
But it's all leasing
Right,
and includes one new vehicle
right.
and the more
The
expensive upfitting
Right.
because it's a new body style.
Right.
I mean, I understand it's cumulative, but
Mhm.
I'm just trying to understand.
It's under lease, the other cars under that lease, yeah.
You're not adding a vehicle.
Hmm?
You're not adding a vehicle, you're
No, sir.
replacing a vehicle that's coming off its lease.
The vehicle that we're replacing is not coming off a lease, it's an old vehicle that we had purchased years
Right.
and years ago. So as we continue to increase the amount of vehicles that we're leasing, the cost is going to increase to the point where we're.
The one that you're getting rid of, we own.
Yes, so when we get to a point where we're leasing all of our vehicles, then when we turn that vehicle back into the lease company, then that's going to take off of the lease amount, right? So at a point, it's going to plateau.
How many do we own right now? Chief?
I have that on here.
Total, I think 11, right? 11 vehicles, 7 patrol cars, one of them's a SRO.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that, I read it earlier and then I can't find it now. It's on my cover sheet for vehicles. We have 7 marked vehicles. And then we have 4 unmarked.
Do we use all these cars?
Hmm?
Do we use these all?
Oh, yeah. So if you look at the sheet that I gave you, I tried breaking it down because, you know, I understand that people will say, why do we have so many vehicles, right?
Yes.
So if you look at this vehicle rotation sheet I supplied you guys, and if you look, if you take a vehicle out, what it does to the vehicle rotation order.
So how many we have on the road at any one time?
We could
Patrol.
have up to 4. We could have
Well, what do we typically have on?
3.
3 on patrol? Because it does seem like there's a lot of vehicles in that.
Look, you can reduce vehicles, but you're gonna sit there and hot seat a car, it's not gonna shut off, we run 12 hours a day. That vehicle's gonna run up, upwards up to 78 hours before you get shut off. If you, even one vehicle, if you only have 1 hour of fleet.
And you're gonna put
You're gonna,
twice as many miles on it than what you have.
if you look at this sheet right here that I gave you guys, it really breaks it down pretty simple, I felt. And then you have this regular vehicle rotation, which I have, right, okay? You take out one vehicle, let's say, I looked and I said, okay, what if I eliminate a patrol vehicle? What is that going to do to us? So projecting that if I take one vehicle out of the fleet, then you look at the red boxes at how many times the car is being used, a particular car, just by eliminating one marked vehicle out.
It's a perception thing, okay? And
It is.
I get that question all the time, and I explain to people why. You know, sometimes if you drive by at 12 o'clock at midnight, there might be 5 patrol cars there. And I try to tell people it's a rotation, and B, there might, you know, one of the police officers might have made an arrest, and they brought the suspect in, type of thing. It's just the perception part of it, and...
I get that, so that's...
No, I know, no, I'm not saying, I'm just saying why people question it, that's all.
That's why I wanted to give you guys the information in
Right.
this forum to combat anybody that asks, why do we have so many vehicles?
Which I do.
Which is, and I don't care if you give it to them. Like, this is, it breaks it right down of exactly why.
Put that on our new website.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
that's, you know, something that varies depending on whether or not we're hiring new officers, not hiring new officers. That I want to remain the same at $7,000. That's something again too that I hold on to make sure that, you know, we're going to be good by the end of the year. If it is, I get the officers new boots, you know, things of that nature. That is a big savings other than what we used to have when we used to have a clothing allowance that was given to the staff. Now I control what's being distributed out, what isn't. Office supplies, again, I ask that remain the same. That's something that, you know, we purchase usually at the end of the year. We bulk up on paper and toners and different things like that. Again, that's another item that I hold on to, and then we purchase some bulk items to get us through the year. Telephone and wireless charges, that's what that entails is our cell phones and most importantly our data usage for the vehicles. So each vehicle is assigned a data line. That's what we need to communicate with our 911 system. A portion of that, is it three lines or more? There are two that are paid for by the Homeland Security Fund through the county. Three. So we do get some reimbursement for that through a Homeland Security grant through the county, and that goes back into that line item to help keep that line item stable.
Do you suppose we can cut that? Because if we look back, I think we could almost take the money out of this line that we had to add into the school resource officer, and then we had to add into your maintenance agreements and still be fine. So that you kind of like, we won't be adding anything to the budget, we will just be moving it from the telephone wireless to the other two lines. Because we haven't come in near 14,000, most we've paid out the 79,300 in 2018. Then we could drop it down to 8,000 and be good.
If you think there's enough in there, Bob, that with the grant money and everything, that we can do that, absolutely.
Okay.
So you're saying what the line is at, education?
No, telephone wireless charges. We want to drop that down to 8,000. And that-
This was 7.
7,000?
Yeah, I think we'll be okay with that in half.
But we spent 79.93.
That's 2 years ago when we made some changes with the coverage and stuff and who's going to telephones.
Okay,
We're good for, all right.
I'm good.
Cut it in half.
$1,000.
Postage, that's just, you know, when we a lot of times have to send things out to the state police lab. Believe it or not, it goes by US mail. Education line, that's another line item that is typically used more than what it's reflecting. What I did last year is I had some funds, unexpected funds, where I sold some old taser equipment back to the Finger Lakes Law Enforcement Academy. They gave us a credit for future trainings, and I've been using that training this year to fund our officers going away to training. So even though it doesn't look like we've expended as much, we haven't, but that was kind of unexpected funds that I negotiated with the Finger Lakes Law Enforcement Academy to cover some training that we primarily do there in the Law Enforcement Academy. Publications is 400. That's pretty much what we say. We do some small publications in the paper and such for advertising, different things around like holiday safety and different things like that. Gasoline, I've asked that to increase. Glad I did back because that's going through the roof. I've asked for another 5,000 in that, and I think we're going to need it next year. Ammunition is on the increase. I think it's about $1 something now for a 223 round. We qualify 3 to 4 times a year. Small qualifications, but they're not all day, but we qualify more and more to stay proficient with our firearm usage, and that has to remain the same as years past at 2,000. We have, Steve, just so you know, we have, because I'm sure you're wondering why it's still the same 2,000s, because when we order ammunition, we have no idea when it's going to come in. So there's a huge shortage of that. We order it, it could come in 3 months, it could come in next year, it could come in whenever. So we just don't know. Vehicle maintenance, we've been doing a pretty good job at keeping that down, and that's due to the fact that the town board's been supporting us with getting, rotating our cars out on a better basis. And that, I guess, we remain at 12,500, and we should be good. I know that it's high for the July date. We still have to buy some winter tires and stuff like that, but we should be in good shape on that line item, and I ask that for that to remain at 12,500. This maintenance agreement, that's the one that I'm asking now to be bumped up another 2,500 to 21,500, and that is the line item for the body cameras for next year to increase our data usage and upgrade our body cameras to a warranty Exxon, what they call Exxon Body True, which is the newest version of the body cameras that we currently use. Radio maintenance, I've asked that just be cut out, so we're going to, use the word save, but we're going to take out 5,000 out of that. We just haven't been using it, and if I have any kind of radio repairs or anything like that, I can just take that out of an equipment line item. The photo line item, we use that for not so much photos anymore. We use it for thumb drives, discs, hard drives, a lot of different data that's shared amongst agencies, some information that has to go to a lab. We use all these different hard drives now to transfer data onto them and then share them with other agencies. Used to be for processing film, and we don't do that anymore. Miscellaneous contractual, that is my line item that for unforeseen items, right? So for things that don't really fit some of these different budget line items, some other things that I can't see foreseen that's coming up in 2020, I have that line item there to be able to purchase different things that I wasn't expecting to purchase. So that line item is higher than what the July number is. I'm not exactly sure what that is at this point, I'll be honest with you. But I'm asking that just remain the same as it has in years past.
It just seems to me if it's a contract, we ought to know what that tallies up to. There may be some, variety of small contracts, but we ought to know what that number is.
The miscellaneous contractual?
Yeah.
It's not a contract. There's no contracts in miscellaneous contractual, or else I would be able to tell you exactly what that amount is.
So it's just a slush fund
for things that might pop up throughout the year. If a copier fails, if a computer goes down and I don't have any money on the equipment, it's a fund in there for unforeseen things or things that don't necessarily apply to the.
You think we need 9K in there? You don't think we could cut a few thousand out? We can always come back. The reality is, right, we can always come back to the board and ask for.
Yeah, but you guys don't like that, I know that.
No, because it's the taxpayers' money and they don't like that.
I get it, I do.
We're just doing we're the messengers. But if we can save a little bit there, we got 1,400 end of June, I guess. We're 6 months in. Any chance of making it 7?
Yeah, let's try it.
Thank you.
Don't yell at me if I come back. And-
I won't.
Steve loves that fight, so he's just trying to set as many of those up as he can.
I know, I can already hear him. Where's his money coming from?
No, I just asked if it was in it. Doesn't mean I'm gonna vote against it or for it.
It was a question.
Yeah,
But
That's
it
what we're
took
saying.
them
It
away.
I
was.
did tell you to cut it out.
Nobody said that.
Grants, you know, the state's been pretty tight on grants. I have not seen or been working with our grant writers, seen any kind of matching grant that the department can apply for. I don't know if there's going to be any, so I haven't been funding it as of lately. Because I originally created this to try to help in any kind of grant that I apply for that. Let's say you'd have a 50-50 match. And I just haven't been seeing them like I used to back in years past, so I'm not asking for any money beyond that line item this year. And travel expenses, that covers for different trainings that we go to, Easy Pass, if we get hotel rooms or anything for any kind of training, food, any of that travel expenses that have occurred, that goes in that line item. And Steve, that's a lot more than $50, I can tell you that. It's sitting there, so. That I asked that remain at the 2,000 mark. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
David already said that, but your explanations in advance were very helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, but glad you guys enjoy the reading. You know, the vehicle one was a new one that I did this year, and I understand that, you know, because I hear the whispers too, and I understand that obviously you guys will be too, so, you know, I feel that that's important for you guys to have that information to be able to give your constituents a correct answer on that. So.
Well, we do have to,
Think it's something.
all of us, right, work hard to figure out how to be more efficient.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. Costs just keep going up. It's not anybody's fault.
It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Okay, Stu, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Nikki is going to go next. Bev's so kind to give you the page numbers, and Nikki covers a lot of areas. So page 3, under tax collection, will be first. You need coffee creams if you want.
Page 3. Okay. Let me just put that in here. Taxes, of course, you've got our salaries. That's mine and the deputies. Okay. And equipment, we have $100. That's in case we need a new adding machine or something similar to that. And maybe I will take that down to 50 if you want. Want to take it down to 50?
Office equipment, you're gonna move,
Yes.
you're gonna take it down from $100?
Yeah, if you want to. Or we leave it at 100.
As far as I'm concerned, it looks like it's all pretty good, I mean, pretty normal, routine stuff. I mean,
Yes, it is.
Postage, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it is. If you go down the list, office supplies, that's for envelopes and things, postage. Don't know what postage is going to be with the new postage rates, so I don't know. I'm hoping that's enough.
Buy the stamps now.
I know.
By the forever stamps.
Yeah. We have the meters, we did a reduced rate, but it still is a lot. Education, 300.
We haven't done anything because of COVID. There is online. Do you want to take that down to 100?
We can do that.
All right, take that down to 100.
Will they continue with online?
I'm hoping. I'm hoping they do. If not, I'll be back from more. How's that? Ads and legal notices, that's just for my ads to advertise that we're collecting taxes and so forth.
It only costs $35?
Huh?
It only costs $35?
Yeah, I only do one ad a year, and that's the ad that I put in the paper to tell people that, you know, collections will be such and such a time and all that. So, that's only one ad a year. Hoping that should be enough. Miscellaneous, $25, because there's something that's not covered by the budget, okay? So that's that. That's my regulars. What else do you want to know? Page 4?
Page 4. And overall, it's up 2.86%.
Oh my
Here you go,
God.
sir. Oh, my God. Now you're going to embarrass me like that?
And a salute.
No, I wasn't lying.
What a bright devil.
I do it all.
Hey, don't
Hey,
take the
God.
coffee, don't do the
What
salute.
about that?
Thanks. Anybody else? Before I leave tonight.
No.
Melissa, what are you gonna do?
Thanks
Pizza?
a lot.
Okay, so
I
then we
don't know
have
what
my
I'm doing.
salary, deputy 3.
No, what I was saying before you go, I mean, the whole thing is up 2.86.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
basic.
its salary is, I mean, obviously 3%. I mean,
Yeah.
do we have any issues with the rest of those line items that are either 0% increases? Any
It's a bare
questions?
bones budget, believe me.
No.
I don't.
No? Okay. we'll go through it. Hold on for records.
Dave, Steve, any issues on,
No? No, okay.
okay,
Records management.
which
remains
is
the
page
same.
5.
Yes.
Should that be 3 instead of 3.04?
What? Where?
The records management
It's
office?
only 3.04 because you don't put in the change, everything goes to 00 cents.
Okay. We're looking on the records against the wall.
Yeah.
Going to
Okay.
figure it out through, so. Ken and I are working on that. Then office supplies, $50. That's basic too. And then, I don't know, every year I put in here to restore a book. We have all our really old marriage books, death, births, and some of them they're falling apart on us, they're so old. So if you have them restored, it's very expensive.
The
Yeah.
Well, you
percent,
haven't spent this year's
I
money,
have
right?
not, I have not spent it, and I don't know whether I really, I think, we
But why don't you
don't
get
go
'em-
through them a lot.
Why don't you get them restored?
Well, we don't go through them a lot, and I figured if we don't touch them,
It'll be fine, huh?
I hate to spend the money.
That
That's
might
paper
be,
cheap.
that might be a grant.
Well, if you don't want to
like
spend the money,
that
take it
says.
out of the budget.
but the
Well,
percent,
restoring records,
I think that's a grant possibility.
we had grants to,
Yeah,
we tried to do that, and that's not, I don't think there's any this year, is there?
we just gotta finish off the job of purging what we have, and then, yes, there is. And
Yeah,
my goal was to try to get everything on microfiche.
and that's.
But even historical
Micro-
foundations,
They haven't used that in 30 years.
Well, you
like,
know.
they might throw you some money.
used microfiche in the 70s.
Yeah, I think when I was in college, we used to microfiche. That was in the 70s.
40.
But, yeah, digital type, you know what I meant. Coffee's good.
Madam Chair,
Although microfiche probably would be more secure than,
we're breaking down.
can't hack it.
The percent change is not correct though, because the dollar amount went up, but it says it's minus 14.28.
It's basing that on the original budget, which was $350.
Yes,
Okay, oh, all right, gotcha.
I could try to get one refinished. And these are permanent records, these cannot be destroyed, they're gonna be there.
So we're leaving 300 in?
I think we
Okay.
should leave it in. try and go through and see what we can find out. Okay, buildings. I don't know too much about this because I didn't really, Mike has been taking care of most of this.
Yeah, buildings is just what it is. I mean, pretty self-explanatory. I have an item in there for the cinder block building. That's if you're looking to change something to cut the budget. I would recommend not to, but there's 35,000 there under cinder block renovation, line item 162201, and that's to be able to winterize the building with heat and replace the overhead door, which is non-functional, and the other door, and to paint it. It's an eyesore on the outside, but if it's winterized and it can be used, obviously for keeping equipment, restoring equipment from Parks and Recreation during the wintertime. They have to repaint, they repaint many things, benches and so forth.
Do we have estimates on that, or?
Originally I got some ballpark estimates. I don't know if 35 is rock hard. I had an estimate to paint it. I think we can do it, the painting internally and just pay for the materials, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So the biggest expense is replacing the overhead door. Stu uses part of that right now. He had a whole bunch of stuff at the records facility that I requested he move out so we had more room, which he did. I got a call from youth football asking me to store equipment over the winter. It used to be used, we used to let youth football use the building. Matter of fact, they ran a concession stand and so forth. When I came into office, I threw them out because it was, rats were bigger than my dog. But anyway, they just want to use it for storage type of thing. If you remember, that building's all been gutted out. It's down to the bare walls. Our staff did a great job last year, and so it's usable, very usable. The roof's in good shape. It's a metal roof, but there's no heat.
And the rats are gone.
Pardon me?
And the rats are gone?
I'm sorry.
The rats are gone?
The rats are gone. That's why there's an increase in Stu's budget for ammunition. So, I mean, is it critical? Does it have to be done? Absolutely
Well,
not.
can we break it and do half this coming year and half the following year?
Absolutely. And the first thing I would do is
Insulate it, put some heat in it, that way you can use it.
the other stuff we can get back. Okay, so you're going to cut that 35 to 17.5?
Just cut it to 20.
20?
Where's this building again? Is that the Oak Street?
It's on the corner, yeah, it's on the corner of South and, well, kind of on the corner.
Our radio
Yeah.
building
In the south.
next door. There's
Where
a
they do
building.
the.
Part where they do driving
Yeah.
tests?
Yeah.
20,000.
There's that one, right?
Yep. Control of dogs, 8.
Control of dogs, we don't have much.
Before we go,
Yeah.
I guess it's building, since there's a cleaner one star. How are we doing in this building as far as like our solution for a cleaner? Is that working? We're gonna stick with it, or
How we're doing what, Doug?
in this building for a cleaner?
Yes,
Is that working?
yes, very well. He's doing a great job.
Yes, he is.
He works 25 hours here, he works 5 hours at the parks and helping at the rec center and the community center. Yeah, he does a great job.
Okay. And that doesn't leave you shorthanded?
No. He's been there, he might be there more than 5 hours still,
Yeah,
Ed with us, because we've needed him for a
yeah,
lot
very
of things.
professional.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Very
yeah,
nice.
absolutely.
Very nice.
Yeah, no.
Didn't know if it was.
And as winter comes, he'll be spending, probably a little bit more time here than he does right now, because he's the kind of guy that's gonna go out there and clean the sidewalks and make sure they're, right now, Aaron kind of comes down and do that, but, during the winter traffic, it gets all wet and slippery, and so he'll be take care of that.
Okay, good.
Yep.
He
Thank
even
you.
cleans our windows, and I think he's probably like, Lori used to clean the windows, you know, once in a while, but if he sees a fingerprint, he gets it cleaned, and we don't even have to worry about it. He's great.
Good.
He's good.
Yeah, people touch the windows, and it bothers him that there's fingerprints, and he wants them to look professional, so he cleans them, and still gets done in a fashionable time,
He's
so.
good.
He's great.
Nice guy.
Good, thank you.
Very good.
Dog control.
For the dogs?
Wait for the dogs.
Oh, let's see, we have the dog control.
Well, we don't have to, I mean, do we need to go through that? Well,
Not really,
Nothing's
but
changed,
let me
right?
tell you, the dog control officer has not had a raise in how many years, Beth? Not since she's taken over, she has never had a raise.
Well, so.
I get a lot, excuse me, I get a lot of abuse from people I know that the dog control officer makes more money than I do.
That's your wife, Mike, that's.
I mean, it shows an increase over 2019 and 2020.
I thought we
It's a
gave her
budget
one.
increase. I don't think we need to add any more budget then, because right now she's making 12,941.28. You give her a 3% increase.
Oh, so you're saying we budget it, but we don't give it to her?
Well, we haven't.
No.
Maybe we should do that.
Give her the 3% raise?
Well, just give her what we budgeted, which would be, you know, otherwise why are we budgeting? We're budgeting 14.5 and
It's the same all, every year.
But what is she making right now?
12,941.28.
same thing she made.
14.5 is quite a jump, isn't it? Why don't we just give her a 3% raise like everybody else?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right?
saying.
Yeah.
She's contractual, that's different than an employee. She's not
Right, that's
really
why
an
she hasn't
employee.
gotten in the past, is because she's been
That's
contractual.
right,
employee.
that's right.
Well, but that's okay, right? I mean, pretty much all of our, you know,
It's fine,
It's fine.
Yeah.
So we can give her a
so 3% of what
raise?
she's making this year.
13,329.51.
How much, Steve?
13,329.52.
Okay,
13,330.
3% raise.
No zeros.
13,330 would be the round.
13,330?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we don't really have to go with that. I mean, some of those things we don't always, there's an age at various things, we never know how much we're gonna need.
Register of vital statistics.
Yeah, that's basically the same, that's for the,
That's all the licenses,
licenses, the marriage licenses for.
death certificates.
All certified copies that we issue, all that. That takes a lot of work. Researching, and trying to find these records, that all takes time. That's that.
Historian, not really our domain, right?
Historian is not really,
I put it there because we needed to look at it. We don't have anything budgeted this year for historian or for donation to the historical society. There's nothing in the line, we want to oversight of the
see there.
through, so we needed to look at it. So I put
we
it on
usually
there.
give her 500, but.
Where are you, Beth?
Page 11,
Page 11.
under, yeah, historian, under historian.
Do we have a historian here?
Yes,
Yeah.
supposedly, that's.
So why are we budget 500, why are we giving her 500?
Because
It's
she
not
doesn't-
Fran, it's-
We don't give it until.
it's
she
still
turns
Fran or
in
the
her
Chris?
report.
Who's Chris?
It's Chris, right?
No, it's Fran Barber.
Fran still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't give it to her until she turns in the report.
Okay.
I don't even.
But we're not gonna take that out of the budget, are we?
It's not in the budget, it didn't get budgeted this year, that's why I brought it up.
Does she not give us a report?
Okay.
I don't know whether we should.
2020, we didn't, I think she was not doing
She
well.
was not doing well back then, no.
Well, I think we ought to leave 500, I think you ought to leave 500 in the budget personally, and if she doesn't give us a report, or if she's not,
Then we won't get it.
then you won't use it, but I think you ought to leave it in there.
So
Yeah.
changing it back to 500?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then also, there's one donation to the historical society over here, so we need to decide if the board would like to bring it over. Just not-
Did we get a letter from the Historical Society?
Don't ask me.
Hmm?
Did you say yes, we did?
I think we did. Wait. Didn't I give it to you?
Nope. You only gave you the ones for the, to that committee.
I thought I saw something.
Yes, I think we did. They usually ask for their basic.
So can I put it in?
I think we better, yeah.
$7,000?
That's what we usually gave them.
Can we give them 5?
No, they usually,
We're not really supposed to do any donation.
What's there I didn't bring?
Trading, we said that no donation from town.
I had it, I know I did.
What'd you say, Sarah?
We're not supposed to give gifts or donations, it's what a conference was that I had to attend, but
Works for me.
we've always had. So,
I
just throwing that out there.
Well,
as I said, I can't remember, I thought I saw something, but I don't know for
yes,
sure.
we did have it, I know we did. I remember that too, but I can't find it
You know, we've had conversations about that before, and it's been, if the nonprofit can prove that that they provide a benefit to the town, then it's not really considered a gift. So I don't know where we
It
are,
has to
but
be
it's
a
a problem.
Contract,
They
isn't it
have to
supposed to be
be-
like a
Yeah,
contract?
yep.
Then you can legally give them
The
for
problem
their
that I see
service.
here is we've taken some out and left some in, which
Yes,
I
yes.
find difficult.
So, I really think we should leave a little bit in there for them. And something.
I think you gotta add that back in the budget.
Yes.
Well, can we add only 5,000 then?
This is the Historical Society?
Yeah. I mean, we have to cut
Well, they
all the donations, so they should get
Well,
cut
if
too.
you cut them all, you
Yeah.
can't just cut one.
Right.
if it's a contract, then it's not a donation. So that's, if they have a contract, then.
Well, if you cut all the donations, you better get ready for the parade of, the parade. You wanna cut it to 5?
I say 5.
What's the pleasure? You wanna wait until we track down the letter, Nikki? Do you remember what the letter said? They were asking for,
I-
renew the contract,
I
or?
think probably 7,000 is what they usually got, and I think that's what
And do they, I mean, at one time it was $15,000 at
they.
one
Yes,
time.
right.
Why don't we
But I
leave it at
think they
7,
did
doesn't
some
mean
more-
you gotta give it to them, it's just
That's
to the
right.
budget. You know, you actually, you actually make the payment next year, and that would have to go through board approval.
Right, right.
So you could have an opportunity to reduce it then as well.
I know, but we can't just keep giving everybody all this money all the time.
Well, that isn't just giving everybody, I mean, it's
But I
a,
mean, we've got the rest of these guys in
Yep.
line for donations.
but they did cut it, you know, it was cut from 15 to 7.
I'm against it. I like what the Wonderful Life Committee's got, everything's broke down, what they spent, and I think all these people should be given
They're
something like
supposed to
this.
give us some kind of a,
Right, and if not, and if I don't see it
Expenditure.
like this one here, I'm not for it.
Right, but if we haven't asked for enhanced documentation, I mean.
We've asked years ago, we
we
said we
haven't.
wanted that broke down.
Yeah, and then they just got away from it again.
But if we've got a template that we like, then, you know, they should have it, and this is what they should submit rather than whatever they
Exactly.
create.
Well, I can, Nikki, can you reach out to Chris? I can't think of Chris's, I know his last name.
Proskowitz.
I can't pronounce it, so I know it.
Yeah.
Proskowitz, and tell him we need a letter of justification, and
In the meantime, I'll look for Max.
And we need it- quickly.
Okay, so are we going to leave it in there for now, or what?
And then he should, in that letter, detail what the contribution from the town would be used for, so that we can justify expending taxpayer dollars.
Right, and it's their narrative as to how the town benefits from it. that I think that we need more than anything else.
Okay,
Are we leaving it in?
we're adding 7,000 to it right now,
Okay.
okay? And based on what we get back, we can either leave it or take it out.
Okay, very good.
And then other culture and recreation, so that's celebrations, convention days, Wonderful Life, et cetera, et cetera.
What about the one?
Well, no, I'm sorry, that's
Committee?
not, that's right. What's that?
The one we have right here in front of us now, the Wonderful Life Committee.
So remember, there's a Wonderful Life Committee and there's a Wonderful Life Museum.
Right.
Both are asking for money.
Correct. But that's the one I'm saying, they got it all broke down.
Right.
The
The
way I
committee
want it to be
does.
done.
Yep.
Is that what they asked me?
Oh,
The committee's asking for less than we budgeted, they're asking for only 4,000 as opposed to 5,000.
yeah. They're asking for 4 now, right?
4,000 instead of 5.
Who's that?
That's the
It's the one
committee's
that's-
asking
Yeah,
for
yeah,
4,000.
Wonderful Life? Oh, they're asking for
The
4?
museum is asking for 10,000,
This one here,
up from
the
8,000.
it's in your packet.
I think.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's 7.
Uh,
You gave him 7.
It's 7 in the budget has been.
Okay, 7, they're asking for 10.
No.
Well,
So if the committee's only asking for it,
They only want 4.
Well, 4 for It's a Wonderful Life, correct?
committee,
No,
yeah.
committee.
The committee is the one that facilitates
Correct.
the
The
celebration.
weekend.
Right.
No, well, but that's not entirely true. They coordinate part of it. But all the It's a Wonderful Life movie things, which are 3 days of activities, conferences and workshops and all sorts of things that go on, that's done by the museum. And that's what they're asking for money for,
Okay.
is help.
And what does the committee does?
The committee does, I don't know what the committee does beside the run, to be honest with you, although he's.
Well, it's broke down right here what they're doing.
They don't do anything with the run.
3,000 on brochures, ads, media, 7,500 on the train ride, 3,000 on the characters on the street, 1,800 for insurance for the festival, 3,750 for tents, 2,000 for the horse and wagon rides, 300 for a shuttle, 1,500 on food and prizes for the events. That's what I want to see.
So that's, that
So
came
they
from
want-
Ann Sandroni, I'm assuming?
So, yeah,
Yes,
that's the downtown
It's
business
in,
association.
right, so that's what I'm saying. Their budget at 5,000, only asking for 4.
And they
This is
do all
what I
that.
want to see, so I'd
Well,
approve
fine, but
this.
then we gotta tell them that, you know. But.
They've been told
no,
years ago,
But
all these.
then we gotta give them something that they can use, so we've got a uniform document to look at.
Well,
Okay? But the
they remember every year,
contribution,
every year they have this.
the contribution to that festival is as great through the museum as it is through the Downtown Business Association. It brings in different people, but they bring people who are historically interested in the movie and so on, and that's the kind of stuff that they do. But they've expanded to 3 days now. They're starting on Thursday of continuous classes, workshops, whatever, conference sessions about the movie. So and I'm not saying put them over the other, but it's not true to have the impression that the It's a Wonderful Life Committee does all of this, and the museum is just begging for money for the museum. It's the museum that brings in the actors from the movie, the director's daughter, and all those people that come here, Zuzu, that's the museum that picks up that tab.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what I want.
Well, that's fine, that's fine. And
Just
and
like
same
this.
thing, same thing we can do, we can, go back to Onway and say, we need this.
Listen, I have a letter from the museum.
Okay.
It doesn't do to the detail, but, dear council members, the board of trustees of the Wonderful Life Museum and Archives respectfully request inclusion of financial support for the museum as you prepare to finalize the budget. We request $10,000 to support operations for the museum and our significant role in the annual Wonderful Life Festival. The museum is in consideration of the 75th anniversary, blah, blah, blah. We provide more than $900,000 for exclusive purpose of they mentioned the DRI grant that they received. The public benefit provided by cultural heritage tourism and our proposal is reflected in the references within tourism and data analysis section of the Seneca Falls Comprehensive Plan. Wonderful Life visitation of over 4,000 people. We propose utilizing the sample draft memorandum to agreement we submitted previously between the museum and the town to formalize a legal arrangement for this year's request.
I say we leave it.
I say leave it at 7.
What's budgeted? Should we leave it at
7 from, not increase it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
right.
what's in there, 7.
I would agree to a compromise, I guess, I don't know. I just think it's you know, it's quite a spectacular week for Seneca Falls. But, you know, can we compromise on 8,500, or you want to, I can live with 7, I can live with 85, I can live with 10.
I can't live with 10.
Okay, can you live with 85? You don't have to, I'm just asking. You can say, no, I can't live with 85.
I'd rather stay at 7.
Okay. All right. Doug?
I'd like to go to 85.
Dave? 7?
No, I want a breakdown of this. You show me what
Well, it would be, that's fine, but their money, getting the money can be contingent upon their providing that document. Question is, you know, do we leave, well, how much money do we put in the budget?
Do it on a document like this.
Well, we can put it in, again.
They're going to give it, they refer to a document, I don't know, do we have a folder on this, Nikki, by any chance?
We must, because Frank Carasillo works there, and he was the one that gave us the prototype 2 years ago, perhaps, of what that civic contract
Right.
ought to look like. So
And he makes reference to that, and he's the one who wrote this letter, and he makes reference to that
Contract.
Yeah.
the contract. But if
But
we
it's
can dust
different,
it off.
but it's different, Dave. It's not a breakdown of how they're using the money.
No, it's not.
It's an explanation of how the community
want.
benefits from this event, what do they get for their money, which is different than a list of how they're expending.
Did we actually give them 20 grand last year?
The year before.
It says 2020.
Yeah, this is 2021.
Right.
What do you mean in 2020 did we give them?
2020 says $20,000.
Yeah, I don't know, I wasn't, I mean, that budget was prepared prior to me, so I don't
There was
know.
a reason for that, and I can't think of what
There
it
was a reason, I can't think of
I
it.
can't
Just
either.
to fly somebody in.
Extra.
I think the 20,000 was to fly somebody in.
Yes, you're right,
Was the what?
It was
yes.
to fly some actors.
Some of the actors.
Actresses.
Right, but then
They
they always have that
They have to
expense.
fly them in, and then they put them up at the hotel for free.
Well, but that happens every year.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
this
but
was,
they needed extra for this person, whoever this person was,
Yeah,
they
I
were bringing
think so.
somebody special.
Take a hotel room?
Well, it didn't happen
They
in
needed
2020
kids.
because of COVID.
Right.
So they probably have that 20 grand, they should have that 20 grand somewhere in the bank.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with 7.
Or at least the.
7.
That's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
I would think they have funds left over.
Okay.
All right.
So,
So 7 to the museum, 4 for the committee. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can we go to the top of the page?
Yeah.
2 little ones, community band and pageant of bands. The pageant of bands, I know all that is an advertisement in the program for the
right,
pageant of bands.
right.
I'd like to see that $100 left, and I'd like to see some money for the community band as well. I mean, it's $500. They perform, you know, every week, all summer long at the bandstand.
Which one's that, Doug?
Community band, right at the top of the Seneca Falls Community Band, right at the top of the page. And then, as I said, the second line item there, the pageant of bands, that's to the music boosters. It's an ad in their program, printed program for the pageant of bands.
So what do they use that money for? Say the community band,
Music.
to buy the
Yeah,
music?
yeah.
Okay.
Music sheets.
But Doug, why haven't they requested it?
I don't know. That's my first year playing with them. I don't know.
I support it 100%. I just,
Yeah, we should at least get an ask from them.
Okay, all right. I'll take care of that.
Yeah, just tell them, you know, request it. And
Same thing
once
with
they
Request
do-
this year, but also a request for next year. I mean, if they don't need the money, I don't know financially how they stand, but I'll find out. All right. Thank you.
I don't know if they were limited, well, it didn't matter. They didn't.
Pageant of bands, same thing. I mean, we should get a
Yeah.
letter. Just asking.
So we're gonna put 500 in, community van and $100 in for now. And we ask them for a letter and they say, well, we really don't need your money, then, okay,
Then we'll
we'll
know.
take it out.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it, right?
The other culture and recreation, I put on Nikki's because it's the Visions and Youth Center, it's contracted to the museum, and we had that fountain cost there too for wiring the fountain. So we needed to lose, we look at.
So the items down below.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna do this now versus when Missy's on board?
Well, it's up to you. I just put it down because it needs to be looked at.
So what is your, so the museum other is the visitor center? Part of
The extra money.
part of that, where's the other 70,000?
It's up above under contract, museum contract, 79.
Oh, there it is, I'm sorry.
405.
Yeah.
Can we go back, what about convention days?
What about what?
Convention days under celebrations, we didn't do anything with that.
It's got
Right,
500
it's got
today.
500, we just didn't talk about it.
Yeah, right.
It's the same 500 they had this year.
You want to keep it at that? They didn't say anything. They didn't ask for anything.
Well, they did, right, they haven't asked this
They
year.
haven't submitted anything.
They didn't, convention days didn't exist last year. So,
Where's our, where is our, money for the, canal days? Well, we provide the fireworks.
That's under mine.
Someplace.
It's
It's under mine somewhere. yeah.
That's under yours? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
That's under hers?
yeah, so
That's,
we got the museum contract and the museum other, that's the visitor center museum, okay?
Yep.
We're gonna maintain that funding, and that includes a 3%, 3% increase, because that's part of the contract we signed with them.
What is this for them?
I'm sorry?
What is this for? Like their wages? They
That's
contract?
the whole operation of the visitor center.
Some of it is, a large chunk of it is, the director of the visitor center, who also acts as director of the museum, which is separate but in the same facility that the town owns. That's, they're paid, she's paid by the town. Because she's the director of
Yeah, I mean,
the
it's a
visitor center.
free, we don't charge anybody to go in there. So, yeah, the town essentially funds that, and donations and grants is what keeps that place going.
It's our, it's our visitor center.
And it's open every day of the week.
So there's, the paid director and then a lot of volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, that's a key part of
Yeah.
our tourism in Seneca Falls.
If that's part of our vision, we need to.
But there is a 3% increase in there?
Yeah, part of our contract with them is,
yeah.
3% increase. We're, on one of the line items, on,
0.4.
museum contract, the 71,293. That's up from 69,216 to 71,293. That's, can't do anything about that.
71,293.
I'm not seeing 71.
Museum contract on page 11.
Yes.
Yeah,
Line
it
item,
says-
79,89,405.
yes,
It says
69,216.
69,216.
That's this.
That's for this year.
Look to the right.
now if you keep going to 2022, it's 71,293, which represents a 3% increase.
Mine says 69,260.
It's not on our page.
Yeah, I must
Yeah,
have,
mine says the same.
Didn't make it?
it's not in the copy.
Yeah.
69,216, but you're saying it, what is it, 70?
71,293.
71,293.
3%.
Now, Bev, you're very optimistic.
About what?
Condo fees.
That's
Oh, it's not gone yet?
Not gone.
I hope so. but it's not done yet. I can ship it out to outside counsel, but it's not done yet. Got some irate people, I gotta tell you,
Apparently so.
irate.
Do we need to add it back in?
While we're onto that, if you're looking to cut something out of the budget, again, as I told you, when I put out the tentative budget, there's $33,400 in line item for fountain wiring under this, other recreation and culture.
Yep.
I don't want to skip over that. Okay, that's something we need to make a decision.
Right.
There was some mixed emotions before. Power will be coming to the area, that we already approved that, that's $1,400. That's New York State, that just brings power there, it doesn't mean anything more than that. So going from the pole to permanently wire the fountain, that's the $33,400. So
Where's the fountain gonna be at?
Pardon me?
Not where it was now, right?
It would move down
More towards where the
more towards the old
Gazebo.
hospital. More, yeah.
front of the
Yeah.
not front of the church.
Is, that's a solid number from?
That's solid number,
Carrizolo?
that's a, yes.
Is that something we should bid?
Is that something what?
Bid. We should put it out to bid. It's a
He-
big number.
He's the town's electrician. There's no need to send it out to bid, but because you accept a contract with him as the lowest electrical bidder, that's how that works. You can put it out to bid, but I don't think you're gonna get it any cheaper.
You know, this is the same conversation, there we go. that
I think
we've had about-
advertising, no, you can't.
about the engineer and things like that, where
Yeah.
the expectation was they perform the day-to-day service, but if there's a big job that comes along, it gets bid out. So.
Certainly
you know,
can. Or you can take it out of the budget.
The other, well, I'm in favor of the fountain, but the other thing that I think maybe we could do is see if we can get some sponsorship to underwrite part of that cost. I don't know, maybe we still have to leave the full amount of the budget. Either way, whether we bid it or not, whether we try to get contributions or not, maybe we need to budget for the whole thing. I'd like not to spend 33.4 on it if we can.
Well, there's gotta be insurance involved, if we're putting that.
There is, I mean, but it's not, not major. I mean, it's just added to our, not significant. I mean, we have to insure the ripples of change. That's been insured. When I came on, believe it or not, the 3 ladies were not insured. Nobody ever threw them
Electric, I
out.
mean, there's certainly gonna be electric, there may be some service. I mean, it's more of a want than a need, and my concern is this. I mean, they put a dock in there about 10 years ago and just let it crumple, and, it just fell in disrepair, and that was just a dock right up against the shore. I think people are gonna grow tired of this, the town essentially, real soon, and it's probably gonna fall into disrepair, and it's gonna be, I don't know, it's a lot of money, taxpayer money.
That is a lot of money.
I don't have a sense of whether the taxpayers want that thing or not. I think once you've seen it, you've seen it. So people in the town aren't gonna, so it's really an attraction for, I guess, folks coming,
Right.
passing through. But it's not, is it gonna be on all the time? Is that the plan, or?
Yeah, whenever you, decide, just depends on when you want to do it. And
Is it gonna be an issue when the wind's blowing the wrong way for boats passing through, or, because it puts.
it all have to be DEC permitted, like we did originally with temporary permit we had, so, yeah, there's some hoops to jump through, but we've done it before. No, it's not an issue, that's why it's gotta be a certain distance away from the major channel and so forth. I personally, I like the fountain, I think it's a nice thing for our community. Is it necessary? No, absolutely not. You want to take it out of the budget, and I think Joelle would be willing to start looking for some donation sources. I think Gould's Pumps might be a possible solution. I've known, I've talked to Bruce, and I know Bonnet would be interested in making a donation too. So I'm sure we can find,
I say
different.
we get donations.
Pardon me?
I say we get donations for it.
Right, but what do we do with this number?
Take it out, that's a big number.
let's take it out, let's see what we can find,
So we don't-
donation wise.
We don't do it unless we've got the whole thing underwritten by donation.
Right, maybe we come back in a couple of months and say, all right, out of the 33,000, we got 45. Are we willing to fund the rest of it, everything?
Okay, all right.
It's coming out, it's coming out.
That would be Fountain Wire under other cultural recreation. Item number 7989201. Okay, hopefully the condo fees will be accurate, and I think the rest of it's pretty self-explanatory. Those are
Okay. Mike, can we go back one and do the development corporation on page 10?
page 10. Where are you, which one, Doug?
Economic assistance and opportunities, development corporation.
Okay,
Okay, we left the line item for the development corporation itself unchanged, but took out the farmer's market.
okay.
Mike knows that we've got a little bit of a surplus in, I mean, that group. I would rather see, I can live with, and I'm the treasurer, I can live without the 3,400, but I'd rather have it, the farmer's market restored and the SFDC contribution diminished an equal amount.
So take the 3,400 from the 56,
Yep.
21. I'm good with that.
Okay, now, the other part of that, of course, is that the development corporation, the lion's share of that 56,000 is to pay the director of the development corporation. And, you know, so that maybe we would find our way clear to give him the.
Yeah, I didn't take this out.
Okay.
Just so you know, I didn't take it out.
That's right.
But I don't know how we worked it this year, because we budgeted 3,400, but we haven't spent any money. Is that because they haven't
Correct.
asked?
It just finished, so one of the things I need to do this week is have Nikki put it on the agenda
Okay,
for
all right.
next week.
Okay.
But the farmer's market just ended, so.
What page
Yeah,
are you
I mean-
on? I'm sorry.
Top of 10.
Page 10, under economic assistance, this would be the Seneca Falls Development Corporation.
So to do that, the farmer's market would get us $3,400. The development corporation itself would take a hit. Not only would it not be increased, but it would actually be diminished by 3,400. But we can live with that for a year.
So you're saying reduce the 56,291 to by $3,400?
52,891,
52,891?
yes.
Are you?
As long as you don't tell Joelle.
In that 56,291?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've got some extra
Okay.
money, so we can eat that. We can't do that year after year after year, but we can swallow that. this
But in the
year.
56,291, we usually give Greg what we give
Well,
other
right,
employees.
And the development corporation could still do that. That would still be my recommendation.
We still got enough money to?
Yeah.
Okay.
52,
891.
So, under Economic Development Corporation, that's gonna go,
52,891.
what do you got, Steve?
52,891.
52,891,
And then restore
and
the
then the next,
3,400.
farmer's market's going to 3,400. So, there's zero effect on the budget, but reappropriation.
Thank you.
You got that, ladies? Okay. Anything else for Nikki? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Missy, you can't keep putting it off.
Stop stalling this.
All right, solid enough.
So, if you're on, your, what page you on?
Page 10 is your first one. Page 10 and 5.
Ten.
Culture and Recreation.
Okay, do you want me to go through every single line if it's not changed, or, okay?
Okay,
yes.
yeah, just, you
Yeah,
know,
so-
just kind of a, obviously, you know, like for example, labor budget is up 44% in 2022. Why would that be?
So that is because I would really like to use 2 summertime helpers, part-time helpers. They would work 30 hours a week for 16 weeks. I know the minimum wage is going up. I had it budgeted at $13.50 an hour. Usually they work about 16 weeks. They start in May, middle of May, and end by September. And with the amount of work that they do in the summer, between all the properties they mow and the cleaning and maintaining the Vince's Park, and it's really, really necessary, I think. There's just a lot that doesn't get done because we just don't have the staff. And to keep things looking the
And
way they should
I
downtown.
don't disagree with it at all.
I think that's
I don't know if
important.
people really know the scope of work that Parks and Recreation takes care of. There's a lot of things that they maintain, you know,
And they
all the way
always
from People's
plan.
Park to Vince's Park to the monument area, emptying, you know,
Correct.
doggy containers throughout the community, flowers,
All the
maintaining,
islands and.
you know, it's a lot of time,
Lower Lake Road.
weed eating, mulching,
There's a lot.
yada, yada, yada.
So this is to accommodate the increase in wage and to add hours?
Actually, the hours don't really change. It's to add a second, usually hire 1 extra summer
Oh, it's the
person.
second person.
And usually it was Pete White, who's now doing the work here as well. And this summer we had Pete Purcelli also for a while. But we were also down, so we had the extra person, but we were always down an employee either from somebody being sick or injured. So from the time spring came, one of the employees was out for, I think, 4 to 6 weeks the whole summer. You know, Dwayne missed 6 weeks. Wyatt was out for a month in the beginning. So we were always, you know, missing somebody. And when we had the extra help, we got a lot more done around town as far as helping the volunteer gardeners who have a lot on their plate. So we've really assisted them with a lot of their mulching and gardening that they do. So they're getting a little older and not, it's a lot of work for the ladies that do it. I mean, I don't know how much longer they're gonna do it. And they take care of a lot of the different properties as well. So that is something I'd really like us to be able to do.
Now, the wage is going up January 1st to $13.20,
Okay.
so you're asking for $13.50.
I was hoping for a little more for them, but $13.20, you know, that's more than the $12.50 they're making now. So I mean, that's,
So would you be okay with the $13.20?
I would be okay with that. Is that good? You want me to the next one?
You guys,
Question? I said, any questions or good with that? Okay. The next item is the equipment and like the trash receptacles. A lot of our parks don't have trash receptacles. I don't know, like Academy Square has one bin that's on the one side of Park Street, I believe, and there's no other places to dump trash. So if people are having ice cream or walking their dogs, or there is a dog station there, but if people are walking and have something to throw away or they had ice cream, everything just piles into the dog station. So there's nothing for people, I mean, it's not nice. It doesn't look nice.
It's not user friendly.
Right. There, and also when you get down in the bandstand area, we have a big trash tote that sits out there. And if I don't walk over and put it to the curb, it's sitting on the sidewalk all week long. So when you take a walk, if anybody's walking anywhere, you've got these big trash totes sitting there. So I did buy a couple for kids' territory to replace the ones we have there. And I think they were like $130 on Amazon. and they're heavy duty, they hold the bags. You know, if we got a few of those, I think it would look so much nicer. And it's easy for the guys when they're doing, if the Cardinal, I think, picks up our trash, if they won't pick those up, our guys can pull the bags when they're mowing. It's not, you know, I just think it would look a lot nicer. I think it really is unattractive the way it is. And the other part of that money that I'm asking for is along the canal front, the trash receptacles down there are like wooden, and then they have the plastic inserts. And a lot of the inserts either got dumped when they took the trash over the years, and they need to be replaced. So I think they're like $68 to replace them, but the shipping on them is crazy expensive. So I've tried to replace them all summer, and I just couldn't bring myself to spend any money on it. I think it came to like $600 or $700 to replace 4 of them. Because they're only $84 each, but to ship them here is the most expensive part of that. So
Where do they come from?
the best deal I could get was OCC Outdoors, it's called, and we've ordered from them in the past, and I think it's been about 3 or 4 years since we had to replace them.
Where are they located?
I'm not really sure, they're online. So there's probably.
Take a road trip.
Yeah. I mean, I did think about that too, if I could get something as close to like Syracuse or Rochester, but I just can't find the right dimensions, and it's spent numerous hours over the past couple of years trying to figure this out. So, I mean, if anybody has an idea of how to replace that particular size of plastic, we've even gone to Lowe's and Home Depot just to see if you could get a can that would fit in there. Or, I don't know, it's a DIY.
So inside
to
the,
replace all
you're
that.
saying inside the wooden bin
Yeah.
itself? So the wooden bin is what you're looking to replace?
I'm replacing the plastic in the wooden bin. The wooden bins are okay,
Yeah.
they do need some
And
repair.
4 of them are gonna cost us?
Yeah. So that being said, I would probably get more than 4 because the shipping is what's a few $100.
Now, you just mentioned the DRI,
So is it-
massive amount of work on that North Shore.
Right, so is it worth it to?
So is it worth it? But by the same token, that's, that work is probably 2 years down the line.
Right.
So, maybe there needs to be, there still needs to be a
Right.
solution. But
And I
there
may
could
have
be,
money left this year.
if those need to be updated to something else that works better, more durable, whatever, long-term, then let's get it in the DRI application, because there will be money for things like that.
Okay.
But that doesn't help us here for the
No,
next 2 years.
no.
or so.
And like I said, I might have some money left to spend on this next.
Susan either has a headache or has.
No, this is like, and I am
No,
not.
that's
I-
okay.
yeah. And this is not a separate thing, but it always bothers me when I walk on the canal and all the bottles and everything are stuffed into those receptacles. Perhaps at the DRI, we could step it up and get those, those 3 divider type of
Like a
commercial.
cart sale.
Right, it says, bottles, trash, paper. I'm not saying for Missy's thing, but the
The
receptacles.
babies are expensive, but they're not, that's the way it should be. Absolutely.
Right, so, not for her in this budget, but
Right.
maybe if that North Shore work, if that can be factored in,
Yeah.
I would be surprised if there wasn't money to do something like that in there. I think that'd be a great idea, and those are perfect.
But just, that's probably 3 years away.
I know, but you know
But when
what?
it does happen, it needs to
I've
happen.
I've, in my head, complained about it for 10 years, so what's 3 more years? Really?
Well, would it be cheaper down there to replace the entire receptacle with something that we don't have to pay all that shipping?
Maybe.
Especially
Maybe
to ship
we
for
can
a
check and
couple
see.
years.
Yeah.
So you forego the wooden
Right.
enclosure, buy something different for the short term.
I mean, even no, they're not
My
pretty, but
Amazon's
even to
one
put
for
the town
130.
toads down there.
Missy, maybe you can get with Jim Peterson.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
See if we can get something else. He might have some sources too.
Yeah.
Get something local.
Do it competitive.
In the interim, I would leave the money in the budget, though. Whatever the solution turns out to be, I think we leave the money in the budget.
We need something. Yeah.
Well, we could cut 1,000 out if we think we could get them a lot cheaper.
But we're not sure.
But we're not sure what time.
Okay. Moving on, equipment gates.
Okay. monument, the iron fence, is really deteriorating. Has anybody been by
This is
there or
wrong.
anything?
Not my house. I'm in the Academy Square.
It's really bad. So
Where's that?
the Academy Square, the
The
monument.
English Street, the big monument there.
There's been different meetings there and public receptions for different events in town. And it's deteriorated to the point where a lot of the metal has bowed, and I talked to a couple people about replacing it, and then spoke with Ryan, he has the house on the
Kilmer.
corner there. And he does restorations, and said it did not need to be replaced, and for less than what I was getting quotes to get it replaced, he could go in and they sandblast it and repaint it and resurface it. And
We were looking at, I think the lowest bid we had on replacing it was 9,000.
Right. And his,
And that wrought iron fence, it's an embarrassment.
it's really bad.
Memorial Day, for instance, to celebrate there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't notice it, I don't think, unless you're close to it, but at the same time, if you don't take care of it, I mean, then it's gonna end up having to be replaced if it keeps. And the quote.
You own it, you gotta maintain it.
The quote he gave us was for
Hang on.
$65.
Yes,
Speaking of things that are an embarrassment and looking pretty bad, the railing on the stairs that go down, Water Street
Elizabeth
down-
K. Stanton Park there.
Right, not the new part with the curved thing, but
You're talking about opposite of
Stairway.
it.
right, the stairway going down to the parking lot.
The archway.
Yeah, that's looking pretty bad with the concrete all busted out.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yeah, I haven't noticed it, but you're probably right. It probably had not been touched in a long time.
So is this just the gates?
It's the entire.
The entire
fence, the
thing?
entire
Gates
thing.
and fence and
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah, that monument is, the monument is completely surrounded by a wrought iron fence.
But it-
Right, but it says gates, so what's the whole?
Yeah, it's the whole thing. And it says
Chrissy, when you get a chance, can you look into that, please? You know what we're talking about?
I do,
City
but
Hill?
I'm sure, is that our property, the steps themselves? Or
Right.
is that the buildings belong?
No, we make, I think the archway and the fence is ours. We maintain that, we
Yeah,
mulch that.
cleaned it
and-
all up and everything. It looks nice except for the stairs. Oh.
Yeah,
It's starting to look a little rusty.
maybe they can do a 2-for-1.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I don't know if it's wrought iron, do you know if it's wrought iron? It is wrought iron.
I think the fancy scroll work part originally came from Riceville Cemetery or, somewhere else, and it was a gate, and they took it and made it into that archway.
Yeah. Okay.
Next is weed control. I don't know how
What should it be?
everybody feels about that.
Is it right or is it wrong?
No, that's right.
I know the next one, I hate comes off the next one.
Yeah, I didn't, that wasn't right, but I'll fix it. So we spend all this money mulching all over town, along the bridge, the sidewalks, everywhere. And then, a couple weeks later, someone's gotta go weed it. And definitely, even with the extra staff we had, I would send them weeding quite regularly. And then they get busy with the grass growing, we're much more summer grass. And there's nobody to pull the weeds around town. So I'm pulling weeds, everybody's pulling weeds, and it's just, you can't keep up with them. And if you can't spray for them, it just seems like we're wasting our money on mulch if we can't maintain it. I mean, it looks, you can go over the bridge, go, wherever in
So what are you
town.
proposing?
I'm proposing we hire a company to come in and spray.
Go.
That's my thought, but I don't know how you feel about that, but
Can hire a lot of kids to pull weeds for 10K.
it actually might be less than that.
But there ought to be some other
Because he
solutions
did tell me
too.
that, the quote they gave me was for $6,600, and I thought he would have to come more than once, and they said that might be just a one-shot deal, like it's meant to last through the summer if they came in the spring. So whether that's true or not, and we can pick and choose, they gave me I believe there's 9 different locations. Some of these are not necessary, but other ones I would say are.
So what do they spray the weeds once they're up? Because then you still gotta pull the dead weeds.
Could pull weeds once.
I mean, there might be other
Yeah.
solutions. I mean, there are products like Preen that you put down before.
I don't,
And they,
the way Aaron explained it to me is that we, as a municipality, are not allowed to spray, anything at all, not even.
This isn't
vinegar.
spray.
Green isn't a spray,
Just
but
a,
it's
so
not,
I don't know if
but
that would
nor
fall
is
under
it,
the same category.
it's not as effective, and it may still fall into that category.
Right. I mean, if they're not gonna
We're
let
not
us.
Yeah,
allowed to-
you're not allowed to put anything down for weed control based on the DEC's. Again, that's what Jim and Aaron tell me.
So, I mean, there might be other options, I don't really know.
Landscape fabric
Fabric
goes
cloth,
down,
yeah.
and then the mulch
And
goes
the
on top
mulch.
of it.
Yeah, and we've done that, it's come through.
It lasts only a couple of years, because
Yeah.
now you've got dirty stuff falling into your mulch and stuff can grow up.
That's a lot of, you're talking about landscaping cloth type of thing?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll spend 10,000 easily on that. We're talking about a lot of area here. A lot of area.
It used to be, you could use a Finger Lakes time, but it's only that thick anymore.
We'll try anything. But this was to do the community center, the canal promenade, the town offices, Academy Square, the gazebo, Three Ladies, Lower Lake Road, where our park is down there, Vince's Park, and Elizabeth Cady Stanton Park. So.
What about plastic? Some sort of plastic coating.
But again, somebody's got to do it, right?
Right.
You heard all the areas you just mentioned.
If you put plastic down, I mean, it's gonna hold up a lot longer than fabric.
But you already have mature plants. You already have mature plants in place, right?
Well, you'd have to,
You got to cut the plastic around the mature plants and.
it work.
We've not
But-
done that, sorry.
two different things. One was that we couldn't have our own people do it because they're not trained, and training them is horrendously expensive. Well, you just said it can't be done.
I don't think you can use some type of I'm going to say, obviously we can't use Roundup, obviously.
Right.
But I don't think they'll let you use anything as far, I don't know how what are they saying they're doing here?
They are actually spraying chemicals, but I don't know if it's because they're a company that they can come in and do it. It's
Well, they probably have, they
That takes-
obviously have.
That takes care of the certification.
Yeah, okay,
Right.
you're 100% right. We don't have anybody on staff that has a spray license,
Right.
okay? So that's the issue, I'm sorry. So for one of our people to do that, that's the issue.
right.
There are products you can use, but you gotta be a licensed applicator.
Yeah,
Yep.
which we don't.
I
Unless
worry
it's
about
worth it for
pets. I
someone
worry
to
about
get.
pets too, getting into, I had a pet in the past that got into somebody's yard that had just been sprayed.
Yeah, I know.
Not a good result,
Right.
so. I'm not for putting a whole lot of chemicals down, just to get rid of some freaking weeds. I mean, I think we ought to find a green solution.
Or bleach. Or bleach.
I mean, there are some non-chemical
Right.
weed control.
And we can
that-
check with
that
them
would
if
be
they can
sprayed
put that
on.
down,
So,
something that's safer for.
Well, if you don't wanna spend 10,000, I think you gotta spend something, no matter what we do. You're gonna have to do something, type of thing.
Well, what have we done in the past? Nothing? So, I mean, I see
No.
nothing in this line item. So we've never done anything.
Up until very recently, we were spraying ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Until we were told we could not do that.
There was some nasty DEC.
But we
letters.
didn't budget for it.
Well,
We didn't
they-
budget for it.
No,
it was just.
They use Roundup.
Right.
So it was in the supply money somewhere,
Right, it
and
was all
then
in
the
the
labor
supply.
was our own people.
Well, let's cut it in half.
Well,
Leave
I'd
something in
say,
there.
you said that first that first
So-
estimate was 62?
66.
So all right, well, let's cut it to 66 or 65.
Okay, so light item number 7110-202 is going to 66?
Sure.
And I'll make sure, check with them to see how safe it's gonna be, and, if they can, because I know there's different chemicals to do, to spray like on a playground, or where there's dogs. So.
Well, certainly, it's our responsibility, but I'm sure that, I mean,
Right.
professional company, but,
Yeah.
yeah, never, doesn't hurt to double
Right, I
check.
mean, that's heartening to hear that there are specific, they're compounds specific to playgrounds. for
Well, and maybe instead of going whole hog into any one solution, let's take some small test sites this summer and try maybe a couple different solutions,
You good with that?
right?
instance. Yep.
Okay.
Get smart.
Okay.
66.
Okay, next is not pave Lower Lake Road Park, it's replace the playground down there. I don't know if anybody's aware that
All the playground
we
equipment.
have Morehouse, I believe they call it Morehouse Playground, down on Lower Lake Road, right before Lower Lake Road spur at the end of Fair. And that is very, very old. I brought some pictures if you want to see them.
What's
But it's very rusted out. What's what?
the park?
Yeah.
The equipment in the park.
The
A
actual
lot of
playground
it,
equipment.
yeah, a lot of that Don Wood built actually probably 15 years ago, or so, 15, 20 years ago.
Probably at least that long, because I know that Aaron ended up taking the swings down and some of the equipment because it's very rusted and everything's kind of falling apart now. It's very outdated and not really safe.
Well, the bottom line is, it's either two options. You're gonna maintain it or you
Take
close
it
it.
out.
I have a question.
It's a health hazard right now.
Yes.
It's an
Why
accident
do we
waiting to
need
happen.
that one when there's one just a little bit down the road?
So we really probably don't, because the other one is brand new. It's at
Right.
the state park.
Very nice.
Oh, state
And
park.
Yeah.
so I think that if we don't want to do anything to improve this one, replace it, then I think that we do have to budget to get rid of it. I know when I had talked to Aaron about possibly replacing it, he was concerned also with the trees, because there's always limbs coming down.
Yeah.
So.
It's
I would
a
say-
health hazard.
Yeah, I mean, I would say.
Maybe
then
we can put it up
spend
for
the money
sale.
to take it out.
You get it sold by 23.
But, you know, we could see how much it
So
costs.
So
I
that,
mean,
just
the guys
so
can
you
probably take most
understand,
of it out.
it's either or here.
Yeah.
okay?
Well, maybe,
gotta-
perhaps we ought to poll the people in that neighborhood down there to find out what the interest is, because
Right.
those are the folks that are using it,
Right.
right? People from Seneca, the village area, they don't drive down there to use it.
No.
Right.
So
And
we
I'm
oughta-
not sure.
It's
how
Lower
much-
Lake Road,
Yeah.
Spur, Lake Road.
Yeah,
And more of those are vacation
so
rentals.
perhaps we ought
Yeah.
to, maybe we could
So-
send out a mailer or something down there to solicit some feedback. That's what I would suggest.
If the answer is to disable it, then as silly as it might seem, I think this community has always needed a dog park.
Well,
And
we
if you
talked
take that
about that
space and clear everything
at the
out,
rec,
it's really a pretty.
I don't know if there's enough room for that,
No.
but we've talked about that too, just amongst ourselves,
So it's
community
kind
centers.
of
But I don't know how much room you would need, I don't know that that's.
It might be very valuable
Well,
property.
but if the folks down there want it and use it, and it's a town property now, and it's a park area, you know, perhaps you have a fundraiser event, town throws a little in, they raise some funds, and you replace it with something, but I think we need to do that.
At the same time, I've never heard of us hearing any concerns about its condition. I'm not sure it gets used much at all. So we may find out that's the case. but
Kids
I've
just
never,
standing there, you know.
never
Well,
heard a
the
thing
thing is, the
about
state
that.
park put in that beautiful playground,
Right.
so, I mean, it's not that far down the road. But, I mean, if you want, we can check and see, you know, what the interest was.
I mean, what's-
And we don't have to spend the 70, I mean, we can look and see what kind of equipment they have and, you know.
You
But
might
then
find,
we're gonna
you might
take some
find that
trees
there's
down.
really, you might find that there's very little interest, and then that makes the decision easy.
Right. And so
It'll
I
save us a
don't know,
lot of money.
I don't know, like, how much it costs to take trees down.
Well,
now.
if we're not gonna open it, you take the equipment out of there and you put a couple of park benches in, you still gotta maintain
And
it,
then people can still,
You know?
yeah.
and you put a doggy retainer there, and I'm sure people
A
will
lot of
use.
people walk down
Don't get
there.
dog
A green
park.
space or you sell it.
It's
I mean,
beautiful.
it may be a valuable property.
Yeah.
So that's gone, right?
Take it out.
For now, yeah, let's take it out, and
We'll
then we
wait
can,
and see. Okay, so moving along, I think everything stayed pretty much the same except the canal port, the Canal Fest. We went down on that because they didn't ask for as much stuff, like we supplied them with inflatables, we paid for the fireworks, the inflatables, any kind of rides. I know one year they had the, zip line and stuff, and they're not doing that kind of stuff anymore. They're the event themselves. We told them, you know, we do the fireworks and a couple inflatables, you know, and it doesn't need to be 12,000 to do a lot less than that. Possibly even less than 10, but I don't think so because it's a couple day event. By the time you do the fireworks and pay somebody to bring all that stuff in.
where are we doing the fireworks?
Well, it's a good question. We might be saving this money here too if we can't pull it off. The barge won't be an option anymore. That was a one-time favor from the Sessler family. It's just a very expensive ordeal for them to bring that barge from Seneca Lake to here through the canal system, and they donated it this year, but he said, Mike, I can't do this every year. So we're gonna have to sit down with the fireworks company, and sure, we'll do that. We did sit down with them. The only really good choice is,
Vince's Park, again.
well, but there's what it used to be.
That's what it used to
But
be, yeah.
then, before my time, it was brought to the Canal Days type of thing as a culmination of that event. Sylvania is the only place, and the firework company wasn't real happy about that. We might have to,
They did come and look at different locations, the firework company, prior to this year's event, and it was hard to find a spot.
we'd have to sign, they would have to sign off on it. type of thing.
Maybe we can get the fire, maybe we can get the fire department to let us use the SMS bill, the old SMS bill.
Is that big enough?
Again, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, if you're gonna move it there, you can move it to Vince's Park. I'm just saying, it's part of that ceremony at the Canal Day weekend. But
SMS.
they might not have the choice.
SMS at least used to, maybe is visible from the.
It's a little bit more located, type of thing.
Vince's Park, I know, they used to be there, I'm not sure it was Canal Fest or 4th of July.
We just did July 4th
Yeah.
fireworks out there.
Yeah, they did their own
But it
thing.
would be, you sort of remove it from the canal, which would be unfortunate, but I don't know what the alternative is.
Right.
If Phillips said, sounds like a great idea. It would work.
Do a laser show and stuff.
Yeah.
No
We tried, we said where our 10 Fall Street would be perfect, but they said it wasn't. With the Muse there,
Right.
they wouldn't go for that.
Only if everyone evacuated, and they
Right.
didn't think that they could get everyone in the use to sign off on being out of the building and the owners. So Sylvania is probably the only option to see it.
So we'll continue to work on a location, but I would leave that in the light item.
All right,
Okay.
and then we're on to
Maybe what? 19?
19. The Beth helped me fill this part out, I believe. I think I left this blank. I wasn't quite sure about increases. And the rec leader position, I've spoken with Mike a few times about trying to get that to be an assistant director. I believe-
My communication skills are going bad, but we approved
Okay.
that. They're not going bad, it's just my time's going bad.
Okay.
We approved that Monday night.
Okay, good.
Okay, so as soon as Nikki can get the minutes to Seneca County,
Okay.
which she'll do, she doesn't have to, just a part of the meeting where the board approved it.
Okay, good.
I talked to Chris Wagner today, so that's the only thing they're waiting on is when the formal minutes, and then he'll send me the paperwork to convert it over. So I would say you can start looking for that.
All right, is this number accurate? I'm not sure if this number's accurate.
Not on that page yet.
Probably close.
Where are you?
Then I'm on 19, page 19.
No, I know, but
Leader, recreation leader.
that's accurate.
Okay, all right.
With the 3% raise, that's accurate. And as I told the board, the assistant director's position is only like an $800 difference.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, since we don't have a recreation leader right now, do we?
No,
No.
you do not.
Why are we giving them a 3% increase?
Well, because at the time when the budget was put together, we had a recreation director, but a recreation leader, I'm sorry, but he has resigned. And Missy, after the fact, came to me and said, can we do it with an assistant director versus a recreation leader?
Right.
So the recreation leader would go out and the assistant director would go in.
And the 3% will cover that $800 or so.
Yeah, it might be even a little cheaper because the assistant director's position, I think, is the bottom of it. The matrix was like 38 something, I thought, if I remember right. But it'll be a wash for the
It's
most
an
part.
interesting question, though. If an employee came in December, do they get 3% a month later?
No.
No, I say the assistant director, if whoever we hire, this is the salary, you know what I'm saying? No
Their
increase.
first cost of living will be next year.
Yeah, there is a matrix from the county type of thing that they'll share with us as to what that position should be. Type of thing. And we go from there. Now, it's up to the, board's discretion, and, well, we want this person, it might cost this much more, but we don't have to do it that way.
Just down to the equipment.
Equipment. I lowered that because equipment is a line item we don't usually use for a lot of things. If we need equipment, it would usually go towards like our maintenance equipment, or that might be if we need like a new, if we bought a leaf blower this year. We don't spend a whole lot in that category.
This equipment is actually office equipment. This would be like a copier or something like that. That's what that line is for.
Okay, I was gonna want one there either, so. I think I'm good with 1,000 on that, for sure. Since I've already done it. Okay.
And you can lower longevity because Jim Spina is gone. And I think this year at a $300 longevity, and there will be no other longevity because nobody else will be there for 5 years yet. So that can be lowered to 300.
300?
Yes.
Thank you. Water fountains is next. We really need to update the water fountains at the community center. They're the very old, where you have to put your mouth almost onto the faucet to drink them. And I really think that, well, one set is new. We have 2 different sets. One is a little bit newer, but it's still the old style. But I really want to have water fountains that people can put their water bottle under. Much more sanitary. It's, I think that it's.
That's the only way to do it, and if you're not gonna do it that way, I would say pull them out and cap them off. It's just,
They've had garbage bags over them for
yeah, it's,
2 years.
every school in America has gone to that type of
So
thing.
how many we
I think
need?
we need to do it. Probably 2 sets. I don't know if 2,000 is gonna be enough for 2 sets, but it's enough definitely for 1. But we could probably just replace the one at the gym, but then you're still gonna be taking off the other one in the hallway, which is.
Do you have a price for them?
No, not finalized.
Okay, 'cause
they're
2,000
trying to
seems
match the
really
cooler.
inexpensive to me.
Yeah, so that was, I think, just for 1 set, because I think the chiller part of it is newer, so you would just have to replace half of it, if that makes sense. I'm trying to.
You don't have to replace the whole unit?
No, because they make different faucets, the upper part. So like the guts could stay the same.
Yeah,
basically.
why don't you see if you can get a price on that, and I would do both. I wouldn't, if you're gonna do one, you do both, but I bet you're looking,
Closer to 4.
yeah, 5,000,
Let
6,000.
me just make it 4,000.
I would, you can make it, I would say make it 5,000 personally, and you might still be short.
What line item is that?
That would be,
Georgia?
yeah, item numbers,
Oh, yeah.
item number 702,
Yeah, I got it.
okay?
Okay.
So that's going from 2 to 5.
Office supplies stays the same. Gas and electric. We don't pay for our phone, we don't pay for the cable. Postage I lowered. I don't really think we use postage as much as we used to. I don't think that everything now is online pretty much.
And if I just wanted to give you, you're doing a great job with the Facebook page.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm really not good at Facebook, but I'm trying. Thank you. Needs some improving too, so. Mileage, that as well, we don't really use a lot of mileage. I don't think we've used very much mileage. Cashier, and if you leave 100, that'll take care of it. We have to run to Auburn to get T-shirts a couple times, or BJ's to buy concession stuff. We did keep one of the old work trucks on the road that we thought we had taken a couple years ago. Put some new brakes on it, and we use that to tour around town and, kind of eliminate the whole mileage expenses.
Good job.
So as long as that still runs, we've got that. certification, left that in there, lowered. Staff uniforms really takes care of the guys getting some, bright hoodies to keep them safe out in the road. And their work boots and stuff like that.
You mentioned town board shoes.
Maintenance contracts, right now our contracts have gone down, when I had been paying for different contracts. I think the 3,600 would be fine. Miscellaneous,
Then you got the train contract in there?
well, we've never put the train contract under contracts for some reason. That's always been under building and maintenance services.
Okay.
So it's in there still, but not under that.
Well,
We could change it.
not your issue, but it's probably something we ought to clean up in the future.
Absolutely.
Should go under, train is we're in the contract with them for maintaining the units on the seal, or the roof of the community center.
Yeah.
Let's just move it now, how much are they?
I don't know what it is.
$3,700 for the contract.
How much?
3,700.
Okay.
That
That's,
actually come down from 19,000 because when I met with them and asked about, the contract, what it covers, it would cover anything they come out and repair for us, but then they said they only will pay up to $3,000 a year in replacing any parts or doing any work. So if you go above the 3,000, so I said, why are we paying $19,000?
Yeah.
It doesn't cover it. And if the older the equipment gets,
Yeah.
the contract is going up. So we will pay the 37 and then.
$3,000 won't cover squat.
Right, so we pay the 37, it's the lowest contract, they did just come out, and we do need about $4,000 worth of repairs. But that being said, then we're still under 10,000 instead of 19,000,
Yeah.
so.
So 3,700 has been added to 410?
Yeah.
Maintenance contract?
We're gonna, and then
Yeah,
we'll take it,
that's it.
reduce it off the other one.
So 7,300. And then down at building and maintenance services?
Yeah, we can put that up, so,
You said, I'm sorry, 27?
37.
37.
Yeah, at 37.
So that goes to 7,300.
About 406.
404.
740, 404.
Okay, building maintenance mechanic, stays the same.
70, 20, 410. Okay.
Can I ask a question? How much was the original contract that we take off of here, because 3,700? If we were paying them 19 something, we were paying it out of Ocean, they had a lot more than 3,700. Is that true?
Yeah, that probably would be true. 404. Yeah, because this year 404 is, for the new budget, would be 17.5, we definitely don't need that much.
So can we put it down to like about, this whole budget should be paid 67.72, with 12,000, be okay?
What's that number?
Yeah, I think that would be okay for that. I'm trying to think.
7140, 404. Halfway down the middle, next page.
That covers like my Casella, Cintas, things like that. That should be fine.
So that gets lowered to 12?
71,
Yeah, that would be fine.
4.
Change it to 12.
Yeah.
404, yeah.
You're pulling the whole thing out.
Well, it was 17.5, we're lowering it to 12.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yep.
Buildings, maintenance, mechanic, okay, back up to that. So the building maintenance mechanic is, half of Aaron's budget is still, okay, comes from my budget, correct? It has been.
Why would there
So
not
now I'm
be?
curious if that's enough for Wyatt's pay and 41.
Which one, Miss?
Building maintenance mechanic.
Wyatt is
Is
split
this
in
on
half too. Is this Wyatt's or is this Aaron's?
Thank you.
So Aaron-
Okay, it's half of both, that's right, they're
Okay.
both half, that's department.
Why would there not be the 3% though?
So I probably missed that one.
Okay.
Throw that out there.
41.6
It's my first time doing a budget, and I was busy.
Yeah.
It's
All
the
right,
form
so
right.
that'll have to stay.
So maybe 3% of 41,600.
41.6 plus 3%.
Unless I did it separately and just added them in there, but I don't think I did.
Okay.
42,848.
Say it again?
42,848.
All right. Rec supervisors, those are our front desk workers, part-time helpers. That's, I'm sure that's enough. I have a lot more for this year, but we really haven't been open to any great capacity. And even for youth, and we don't really need it different now. With basketball starting, we'll have hours that are expanded, so we definitely will be using them now, but that's fine for next year. Harbor attendant, we're still leaving that at 0. The museum, the visitor center really helped out as far as registering the boaters that can stay there, because in the past, we've had a harbor attendant where people would park their boat and have to come to the wreck, and a lot of times they just didn't bother. So we posted some signs and asked the visitor center to keep the check-in book, and everyone registered with them. And it seemed to work out very well. They're open all, on Saturdays and Sundays, so their hours are longer than the rec centers, and the people are right there anyway, so that was definitely a help for us.
We have an offer from an individual who would like to be the harbor master at no charge, but he wants to be able to keep his boat there for the whole summer, which he does anyway. We're not going to allow that to happen anymore.
Unless he's harbor master.
I mean, when I say he's there the whole summer, he's there the whole summer. That's basically free room and board. That's water, electricity, shower facilities. Laundry they got to
We
pay.
got to pay for
Laundry.
that, but
Quarter.
not after.
Well, why don't we employ him as the harbor master?
We've not had one in years.
Do you need a harbor master?
I don't know what the job description
It
is.
depends if we're going to enforce the rule of staying more than the 48 hours. So Canal Fest weekend, I heard about it afterwards that somebody had parked there for a full week, and well, they probably all did, and then the canals closed anyway, and they kind of had a fight amongst themselves, had to call the police, and the police said they didn't have the authority to kick anybody out, so we either need to come up with a rule and talk to Pat and see how to enforce it. If we're
Well,
going
there's
to have that many
probably
people.
probably a list of things that that person could actually do and oversee, the amenities, space itself, if the person is reliable and trustworthy.
Oh yeah, nice guy, reliable.
I think it's something we should consider, if it's just pro bono.
I don't have a problem. Don't matter to me.
We'll have to connect on which person it was, because I had another offer. He would do it for free, but he'd like a stipend.
Tell him you got to pull weeds. It's part of the deal.
Yeah, there you go. Pull the garbage, too. Okay. Cleaner. The question about the cleaner, am I adding, I probably should add more for Pete, because I'm using Pete White more. Am I using Pete White now?
Yep.
I'm keeping him on here, so for a couple hours. But I don't think that's been increased, so I'm gonna have to adjust the cleaner position.
Right.
Because he would come out of that. Right now we pay him from the A fund.
Yeah, 5 hours.
So,
Does he
71,403. It's got to go up 5 hours a week for Peter White.
Right, are you going to put him on the same wage, or still be two split wages?
Should be the same wage. This one lower or higher?
This one's higher.
Should be the same.
keep him the same way.
Yeah.
When will that start?
Pardon?
When will that start?
Well, You still have them on the payroll, right?
I am on payroll.
As a summer type of thing.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen Monday, okay?
So is it change
So what's
required?
the increase?
So what is the change?
I don't know what the number's gonna be. I
I
don't
it's like
think we know
13, I
Peter's.
know.
Do you know what the number, do you know Peter's hourly rate? Yeah, no, I knew that.
Something.
They wanna know what the number's gonna be, it's gonna be about,
It's like 14, 20.
my guess, 5 times 16 is $80, extra 80 times 50 is, gonna be like 400 and some odd dollars extra.
All right. Okay.
Preschool instructor I left in, we did not have preschool this past year because of COVID and the fact that the rec center was the site for the regular play program, and we did not take the little ones in. So the little ones, preschool in the past, we took 3, 4, and 5-year-olds before they were old enough to go to the regular playground program, which is the part-time, 2.5 hours a day, and we may not do it next summer either because I'm not sure that we won't have to split the older kids again. They were split between Katie Span and the rec center. So I'm leaving it in just in case we do a preschool. But it's highly unlikely. So if you'd like, I can move that out or to the regular play program.
Yeah, leave it in.
Just in case. Concession staff.
We're not gonna, let's just go to,
Yeah.
okay, let's just go to,
Parking lot, oh, I just want to address one thing that I changed. Seal the parking lot for the community center.
well, let's
I
go
had
back up
budgeted
to,
45.
all right, let's go back up to one, hang on one second.
Trying to hit anything that's different.
You're trying to get by something here on me.
What are we doing on fitness room right now? 5,500, you're getting a new piece of equipment. Fitness room equipment.
Yes.
202.
Oh, yeah, they're here. Every couple of years, we cycle out
Rotate.
the old,
Sure.
get something new. And
Is that a
this-
treadmill, Missy?
This time it's a bike.
Last year was a treadmill,
They
right?
got 2 treadmills a couple years ago, too. Well, no, it was right before,
Yeah.
yeah, 20.
Is, things picked up?
Yes. And the favorite piece of equipment is a bike that you can sit on. It's great for older people, and it's all day long people are on that bike, and it's kind of falling apart. So
Yeah.
we may just repair it and keep it and get another one of those. It's the most used piece of equipment. So we really like to do that.
Let's go to more.
Okay, mower.
What are you replacing?
So the mower, I'm replacing, I would like to replace one at the community center. I think it's 2008 mower, and doesn't work great, falls apart a lot, needs to be repaired a lot, and it's not even the one that I think Jim budgeted for the Vince's Park mower to be replaced, and we took it out of the budget after COVID. So I'm gonna ask for one for Vince's Park too. But the mower is 6, 7 years old now.
So are you replacing it with a zero turn, a vent?
Another zero turn,
Zero turn.
probably like a 60-inch deck.
Okay.
And
This is for the community
for
center.
the community, well, not for the center itself, but it would go under my budget where they mow all over with it, all the
All
property.
over town.
Yeah.
That's an expensive zero turn.
It may be less than that, but I know, with the price of everything going up, I don't want to put it down, but I think they gave us a quote of like 9 something, a little over 9,000, but
For 2.
9 for one. 9 for one.
What size deck? 60?
60 and stuff.
How big?
But, you know, I wanted, that was the one quote that I already had in here from like a John Deere dealer. I'd like to look around and see what else is
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
I
John.
don't want to spend that much, so I'm hoping I can get.
Yeah,
something
that,
under
I mean, I don't know how
10,000.
big, I mean, that seems a
I
little,
gotta do it.
Well, John Deere's a Cadillac, you pay for it.
Yeah, we don't have to get it done.
There's a lot of other.
State bid?
This is the state bid, okay, so the list price was 13,000, and then the state bid was 9,889. But there was also
did you talk to Jim at all?
a year ago.
Jim Peterson? So there might be a state bid, I don't know how that works, there might be, he might have the information for a state bid
Okay.
type of thing for that type of equipment.
She said this was the state bid for
Well,
that.
this was, and this is a year old, and I know
Okay.
that everything's gone, but we don't necessarily, we can look and see what else is there, we don't have to get it down there.
Well, usually
I mean,
for
at the-
state bid,
At the
it's,
consumer level, those prices have come down for zero turn,
But, oh, okay.
but I'm not, maybe they're not.
You know, a lot of other ones are going up, we can see what, you know, there's out there.
Okay, well,
Okay.
yeah, I think leave it in, but,
Yeah.
follow carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do our best not to swim, see what we can do. Okay, where are we?
Pick up truck.
Uh,
That, it's not a new truck, that it's a lease, so that's just our payment, where it says pickup truck.
Yeah.
And,
Steal the parking lot.
okay, so that is actually less, the quote on that is, 3,300, so it's down from the 45.
that's for the community center?
Yep,
The
Right.
front lot?
yep,
Wasn't that just done?
3 years ago.
Wasn't it?
What was the bid, 3,000 a month?
3,300, so that line item goes down $1,200.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
we could wait a year, if you want to wait a year on that.
We can wait a year, we should wait a year, if we can. Absolutely.
And might need painting.
When's the last time it was
Okay.
done?
It's been 3 years, and all the paint has come up from all the striping by now, and the
How many
cracks and
years?
stuff, 3 years.
I don't know, I do my driveway every other year.
Yeah.
You get a lot more traffic there than I do on my driveway.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're gonna kick that, again, if you own it, you gotta maintain it. I don't know why you wanna kick that down the
And I
road.
think that price is less than what we originally got quoted for it, and if they're gonna, I mean, if it's that low, I don't know if it's gonna stay there, if you wait another year, how much will increase, or,
I would not be
Your
in
thoughts
favor
on
of
that?
doing that. I mean, it's a relatively inexpensive precautionary thing to preserve what you have. Pay me now or pay me later. I don't,
Can we go back to mower for a second? Because we were talking mower, and they're up at 203, there's a line item for mower, that's the 6162.
That's a lease.
Is that the
Yeah,
Ventrac?
that's the Ben truck.
this is the last year.
Then it's almost
Yeah.
done.
And then you own it, so,
All right.
And that's split between highway and parks.
Yeah. Thank you, just wanted to confirm that.
yes, thank you. What else is there?
So we're leaving the ceiling in.
No, the ceiling of the parking lot, I really don't think you know, you can bring it to 3,300, but I really don't think you ought to take it out.
Okay. That's good. Maintenance equipment parts. If I'm getting new mowers, you can drop that back to 35.
Let's go to the big one.
Which big one?
Building and maintenance, we dropped that one down. Okay. How come I don't see,
Sure. Are you
is
looking,
it someplace else?
are you looking for my?
I'm looking for the
paving?
roof.
What do I see?
The roof we don't have in here because we don't
The
have
new
the
one,
price of that.
13,000.
But we need to, I was hoping we'd do that this year as emergency. So I'm waiting to hear a final.
So this
This
is
is the
staying.
new mower.
Roof got repaired, right?
No, it's still, you will see it on Saturday if it's raining. It rains in the hallway now, the roof is
So
leaking.
if you're listening to this, you know, we need to put some funds into repairing the roof. The roof is in real bad shape. Missy and I met with, we did a Zoom meeting. There's work to be done. I don't know where, they come back yet? They haven't come back
No,
yet.
they're still working together. Steve Sinner is working with them,
Okay.
and they're trying to come up with a solution to give us the best option to repair it,
Right.
so it doesn't leak.
So we got serious issues there that you can't ignore, okay? It's gonna cost money, you can't ignore it.
We just had the floors done, you don't want them to get ruined again.
And there's, after the rain we've had that past week and different times, it's just, it rains through, like a straight line in the gym right below where the windows
Hey,
are.
you're gonna ruin the hardwood floor.
So
So we
there's-
put buckets
The
everywhere.
roof is in here or not?
It's not
It's not.
because I have no idea how to put it there.
Well, did
And
they
if we
give you
might
a
have to
price?
do it before the end of the year.
Pardon me?
Did they give you a price?
They've not given us a price yet, because they were working on, trying to, you know, do it. Steve Sandroni, I don't know if you guys know Steve, he's a Seneca Falls person, he owns a, yeah. So he was helping us out and working with the contractor, because he knows a lot more about some of the stuff that has to be done around the windows, peeling back the drive it and so forth, and going from there. So I don't have a number yet. I don't have a number yet.
And maybe this is something that we do with the leftover plan for revenue at the end of the year or something.
Yeah.
This, to me, that roof, we've been talking about it for years, and
We
it's
have.
always been, well, we can go a little bit longer,
Right.
a little bit longer.
What about
Doesn't
the
sound like
COVID?
we can anymore,
No,
but,
What about the COVID fund? Can we use?
I don't think that would classify, that would come under there. I would have to check with Matt, but I don't think so. But again, you got, you know, I think Doug, that's a good idea, that you can allocate some of that
I
to.
mean, to me, that's infrastructure too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's protecting our investment.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important.
and it's not just the gym that leaks. If you walk down the hallway towards the gym, there's one spot that it was still wet today. It's still, I don't know where it's coming from, but it's, and that's a different roof. That's the flat roof.
It's time to move on.
They were gonna do an evaluation of the whole thing. When Jim was here, they came in and did a priority thing. So Missy has a quite extensive, I don't know, program to say, okay, this is priority 1, this is priority 4, okay?
Right.
Priority 4, you're gonna have to do, you know, in 7 years. And priority 1, you need to do now, type of thing.
How old is that roof?
2021 here? Think so?
It's never been very good. They've had problems with it
No.
since the beginning.
Steve explained what he thought a lot of the problems with the windows.
Yeah, sure.
This wasn't originally installed right, so.
You gotta turn the camera off. I said, sometimes you gotta look at the contractors that do work for you, and sometimes the least expensive is not always the best.
Right.
I guess I won't have to say.
So they don't have to be addressed
No,
sooner than.
Okay.
like sidewalk programs, sometimes when you get the least expensive on a sidewalk
The
program,
worst job.
it just happens to be the same contractor.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
And we don't want
Is it
to
really?
For the roof?
For the community center, with Massa Construction out of Massa
Yeah.
Construction.
okay.
They haven't changed
Yeah.
their ways.
So soccer's up $2,000.
Those balls are expensive.
I love
Soccer's
that
popular.
Soccer,
413.
It's very popular.
40% increase.
But lacrosse is down.
So not more kids playing.
Soccer, I think, is gonna, we take in quite a bit for soccer, but then when we do our summer camps, it's a huge camp, and by the time we pay, Marcellus does
Oh my
camp
God,
for
that was
us,
bad.
even though we
Oh,
pay
not
them
bad.
money, we pay them based on the amount of money that we've taken in, and how much the camps cost. And I try to just cover it so it doesn't look like I go over if we pay everybody for what they do and what they help with. But there's funds that, it's not more than we've taken in for camps, or the program, it's a big program.
But, and that's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
It's just like a
It's just a
program.
large program.
Golf is gone, roof fitness is down, kickball's down, cross is down, and soccer's up. And that's where the kids are going.
That's where they're going.
That's just 40%, that's a big increase.
But if you look at the.
Right, but it's compensated,
The
it's
revenue-
basically
the
offset by all these
revenue-
All
others.
right,
Yeah.
I guess.
Summer play staff is up. We have 2 different locations. It's been the same, the amount budgeted has been the same for a couple of years. And with the increase in minimum wage and the amount of staffing that we need for the program, I actually go up on that. But we are charging for that program now too, so we're taking in, I think we charge $30 this year, but I think we could easily raise it to $50, and I don't think anybody would back that or much of that. But people that sign the kids up, it's a 5-week program, $10 a week. Other communities are charging between $100 and $200 a week for their summer programs, so their summer play camps. I think if we charge them $50 for the whole summer, I think that would be
Sounds good to me.
huge for us.
We'll lower that down to 30 then, or 25?
Well, no, because I'm still gonna pay the staff that. Possibly. You could.
Right, so,
But if
so
you don't, I'm just
on the
saying, let's
revenue
bring
side,
that
that
up.
might be increased.
Yes, that which is gonna allow you to pay the staff.
Right, but you don't, but the expenditure stays the same.
And I don't know that we'll, I don't remember how much we spent on staff this year. I don't think it was quite that much, but. So,
60% increase.
yeah, because I think I went over the budget this year on that.
We'll go tomorrow.
And we, you know,
And you got more summer
But
staff
we're
because
not
you gotta
gonna
keep the
use all
kids
that.
separated.
more summer staff, minimum wage increase. I mean, a lot of it, I know I went over the amount for this year, so I think I added to it for next year just to be safe, but
So we're leaving that at 40.
yes.
Okay.
And we'll bring in a lot more for that.
Yeah, but look at that mulch budget, huh?
That's a zero. Okay. Upgrade the bathrooms at kids territory. That can go way down because I had taken into consideration replacing the floors, and that's being done right now with my bathroom. So that is not necessary. I will lower that. The bathrooms, the only thing it's gonna need is a new mirror and a paint job, and we can do that in-house. I mean, if we have $1,000 in there, we can fix that up pretty good, I think.
So we wanna lower that to, Missy?
To $1,000.
4,000?
1,000.
1,000.
For that, that's all.
Total 1,000.
Total 1,000.
So down 7,300 and, yeah.
But sometime in the future, I'd like to pave kids' territory parking lot, and that 8,500 is not accurate. That's the quote, just to have somebody come in and spread the asphalt or actually do the work.
That's like for, Seneca Pipe and paving to come in and pave it.
To come in and pave it, but
But
we
not
would
the
supply-
cost of,
Right,
blacktop.
we would supply that. So that would be closer to 60,000? So that's just a heads up on that. This is like my wish list. I have to say. We do pay to have, you know, $1,000 a year just to bring in the stone and whatever. Be nice, the buses turn around in there, people use it for different things. And be nice to actually have parking spots for people, and so they're not parked in the garage and nothing like that.
So the 85 isn't gonna do it. You're saying
Absolutely not.
maybe more than 60.
Yes.
Since we've got some other big ticket items in the hopper, especially the roof and such, I think we gotta push that and just put some stone down like we've done for the last 30 years. That's what I propose.
Yeah. So, and is the money for that
The
somewhere else?
The stone, yeah.
So the 8,500 to 50 can go.
We're
I
gonna
think Steve's right, that this is not the year for it if you're gonna get the roof. But I think you want it.
I'm definitely need to do.
Put whatever money we do the blacktop, put for the roof.
There you go. You're gonna need all of that. All right. Next. Trips, I took trips out. I'd like to add that back in eventually, but definitely not taking a trip for the bus full of people this year. So that's 0. Youth programs, I reduced to 1,500. That gets absorbed into other programs. Youth programs really the only thing we do is the Halloween event. And this year we have people supplying their own, like we always provided everything, and now we have the downtown businesses and different organizations, local organizations coming in and partaking and handing out all the candy and treats. So that saves us some money. So I did lower that. Okay, what else?
Okay,
Let's get down.
good. Let's go to Vince's Park.
Okay, Vince's Park. Pretty much stays the same. The mower's on here, another mower.
Can you give me the page on that?
Yeah, so 25. So that would be the second mower that's also almost 10 years old that needs to be replaced. And I put the 13 in there because that's the price that I was given because they thought they're being increased. But we definitely won't spend that if we don't need to. I can get quotes on
If you bought
other
two,
than
would
John
they give you
Deere.
a
They
discount?
probably would. I think we could probably work something out and check with different dealers. There's 3 or 4, I think, that sell.
Check with Jim. It turns out that that both of these new mowers can be lowered
Right.
before we finalize the budget. If they can be lowered 3,000 or 4,000,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
okay. We can tack on to something he's getting to if he's. Other than that.
Probably no one is interested in hearing about Vince's Park, right?
Well, the pool floor is the only thing we are not really getting done this year that we were budgeted for because they just, we're so busy.
No, I don't mean about that. I mean, closing Vince's Park.
Oh, that part.
That's what I was
So the pool floor is going to be
referring to.
fixed next year, next May.
Keep it open. Keep it open.
Absolutely.
Keep it open.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the jewels of the town. And a lot of kids used it this summer. It's a hot summer,
It's a hot
there
summer.
were a lot of folks out there.
I wonder if they're off in Seneca Falls.
Hey, you know, a lot of
It's a
them are.
variety.
I beg your
There's a
pardon?
variety, there's some of each.
What would you say your guesstimation be? Honestly,
Honestly,
50-50?
There's a lot of days closed though, out there.
Every time I'm out there, I see a lot more
Or-
Clyde t-shirts than Seneca Falls t-shirts.
There's a lot of days that were closed out there because of the rain. I did the deposits, so I seen them.
Now,
Yeah.
Waterloo pays because they bring their kids there to swim, is that right?
when they come for their summer program, I'm not sure if they did in the past, but we will be charging them in
Okay.
the future.
all right.
Yeah, if we need to run it differently, we run it.
Well,
I mean, we can even raise the fees.
Jim and I had talked about, approaching Tyre and approaching Clyde and saying, your people want to use it, whether
Your summer programs or whatever.
their municipality can send us some money. I know they're paying fees.
I asked the county if they're interested, they said no. Interested in making it a county facility, that would be the only county public pool.
Yeah.
No. Okay, I just,
That's too bad, but I think some of these other municipalities that are using it
yeah.
would make sense to try to jack the revenue up by charging a little bit.
Let's do it. Let's do it this year.
Do what?
Approach these other municipalities and figure it out. Figure out how to, get some revenues from folks from the outside.
Cayuga and so on. I mean, they're
Well, again, it's something I think I talked about last year. You got to do it before you now, because they're in the same position that we're in. They're preparing their budgets, or they're already done with their budgets. So they're not going to say, "Yeah, well, we'll give you $3,000," and they're not going to agree to anything unless you had some data to back up how many people from Tyre or Junius or Waterloo are using it.
Village of Waterloo doesn't, their
Pardon?
budget comes up in May, so we're good there.
The village of Waterloo,
Yes.
not the town.
Yeah. We can definitely see who has summer programs like ours, where our kids go once a week, and see if they want to come one day, they can take a day and come out for a few hours. And
But even if we don't get it done and implemented this year, we can get it done
Done for next
2023.
year. So before I give up on it, I'd like to see us try to enhance the revenue.
Not an issue.
Okay.
Okay. Did a good job of keeping the budget very flat.
This is pretty good, I think. So,
You got,
lifeguard equipment. We do need a new standard too, because we've repaired them a few times and they are wooden, older, and they're kind of falling apart. I did price them out at the end of the season and they're about $1,000 each. So I did put in here for 2 stands at $2,000.
Can you do one this year, one next year?
Do that.
I mean, you know, every little bit helps. Let's make it 1,000.
All right.
Lifeguards,
Lifeguard
We're on
equipment.
about 5,000, is that minimum wage or?
Yes, and also, we opened very late this year. Normally, we'd be open, ideally, we could open in May, and we're gonna have to open it to do, resurface that floor, repair those, you know, the patches. And if it's open, we might as well start getting people out there, making money. So, the only lifeguards, so that's that. And I did put in here to resurface the pool house floor. There's a party room out there. We did not pull the carpet up in that area. It's the only area left. If you are interested in getting that ripped up and replaced for the epoxy floor, that would be the 4,000.
again, if you're gonna keep it open, take care of it, and
That carpet is disgusting.
Yes, and we've really gotten, I mean, it looks great out
the
there.
locker
There's a
room
lot
is so
of-
much nicer.
Yeah,
So
the
much
whole
nicer.
thing is just so much nicer.
What about the pool bathroom?
That, we had budgeted this year for that, and they just didn't have time to come get it, so or get it done, so can we transfer that to next year?
We're gonna cover that.
Do it in next, and I think they said they can come in May, so I'd like to do that. So your thoughts on the?
You have nothing in
the rest
there
of the
for,
carpet? Can you do that?
you have anything in there for the roof repair for the pavilion?
I got them all done.
Huh?
Did them both for.
They're both on this
22,
year?
yeah.
Okay, good.
For both of
Good
them.
job.
That's, what else? So the pool repair, line item 7180-401, went from 5,000 to 0 because that 5,000 is from last year.
That was for that's for the leak and so forth. That wasn't,
That's on the floor, okay.
what do you have as far as, do you have anything for like pumps and stuff like that?
No, I don't, so we hope that doesn't go wrong.
I think you ought to budget something, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Still hoping for.
I mean, I know what I spend on my pool,
I
just
know.
for general stuff, that,
Put 2,000 in there for
Sure.
And pool repair?
maintenance.
Yeah, let's put it back in the pool repair. And
that's all you have.
page 27, yeah, that's it. Unless you, you can also raise the fees. The resident fee, it's $2 for a student and $3 for an adult to use the pool every day. I don't know if that's a good
That's
fee,
your
a
call,
bad
and,
fee.
you know, that comes under your fees and revenue, but that's, I think, your call.
So what, this non-resident daily pool fee, where does that come from? Down on page 27.
That's what people pay to do.
So the people from Clyde do pay.
Yeah, oh yeah,
All right.
If, as long as we know they're from Clyde.
Sure.
they have to show ID.
They do have to show.
Yeah, they're required to.
Everyone that goes in shows ID?
Mhm.
So that brought in 16,000. That's a revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And perhaps we should increase it a little bit incrementally.
Those are daily fees, and some people got memberships, so there was a few memberships this year too. I'm wondering if we would have had more memberships if we didn't open this late.
Mm-hmm.
And,
What's the membership cost?
It's $50 for an individual if they're a resident, and $100 for family. If they're non-resident, 75 or 150.
And I'm assuming there's a family type of thing.
For
Good.
family.
Good.
And also the increase in fees or price for the lifeguards. I'd like to have some lifeguards that stay past the 3rd week of August, or the 2nd of August. So I'm gonna try to reach out to some people that are local, that are a little older, because it stinks to close the pool
No.
before.
How'd your chlorine supply last, okay?
Mhm.
Did you see a big spike in that or not?
No.
No? Good.
So,
All right,
Pavilion rental did pretty good too, 13,000.
yeah, and that wasn't rented nearly as much as we could have rented, so hopefully, actually, the pavilion's rented from every weekend from now until the end of the year.
Beat the previous year significantly.
well, Missy, you should be commended on your first attempt at a budget. And,
Yes, great
I
job.
think you did a nice job of
So many times.
keeping expenses down and taking a hard look at a lot of different things. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Fine.
Okay, some things that Bev included in your packet there.
Covered most of them, I would probably should look at the law.
Page 4. You want to cut out the lawyers? What's the question?
Just to have you look at it, that's all there is, it needs to be just looked at to see what.
Town manager, page 4. Oh, I'm on page 2.
For instance, in litigation, so far this year, we paid 29 through June of the year. Could we lower that a little bit? Do we need to leave it as it is? We've already lowered it from last year.
Now, we can't touch professional services. And that might be a little low. Oh, you jumped at 10,000. Okay.
Litigation, possible litigation.
I lowered litigation.
But we have the new lawsuit.
Another lawsuit?
And the Indians, yeah.
Huh?
It's in the paper tonight. Half
I
town.
haven't received anything yet.
We haven't
I've been
used it.
served.
I haven't been served. You haven't been served, have you?
Not yet.
Lawsuit about what?
Not enforcing
Gas
zoning.
station.
New smoke shop now, but.
Not enforcing what? Zoning? Let them sue. We're enforcing it.
Right, but as far as.
Oh, yeah,
you know, it's
at
gonna
the end of the
cost us-
article, they had in there that we gave them another 30 days.
Yeah, we extended, their attorney asked us to extend it 30 days because they're looking for local counsel in this area because they're from Oklahoma. And based on our attorney's advice and the zoning officer, it's a normal request.
That was the last little snippet
Yeah.
at the end of the article.
It's
Big
the,
thing, half
it's the
town.
same, they want us to, so these little things are popping up, you know, over on Lake Road, there's a barn that's popped up owned by a Cuban Nation member, not necessarily aligned with the Halftown faction, and their attorney sends me letters saying you gotta close them down because they're not zoned properly, which they're not. But you just can't walk in and close the door, you gotta serve them a letter, and then they got 2 weeks to respond, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're doing everything we're doing. But we're never gonna get in the middle of, can this guy sell this and can that guy sell that? That's way above our pay grade.
Right,
Type of thing.
well, I'm just saying, you know, we need to be careful with the.
No, I really,
Budget for litigation.
yeah,
because
I don't
they're
see
litigating.
anything crazy coming up.
Okay.
I really don't. We talked about economic, we talked about celebrations.
We talked about that in the next one too, other home and community service, you talked about.
Say again?
You talked about the next one too, other home and community services, you dealt with that one as well.
Okay.
So the next one is just taking you to page 15 to look at the amounts for transfer.
Let's go, excuse me, let's go back to, I'm sorry, so environmental fees, okay.
Where are we going back to?
Going back to
Yeah,
law.
where are you?
I'm back to law. So the professional services, you have it at 60,000. Right?
Yeah,
That's for Pat, Morale Services.
That's Pat's, right?
yeah.
But do we have,
Boiler code.
So under negotiations, you have Bond, Shannon, and King, that's what you
It
have?
was 18,000 there, it came.
That's gonna be way too high, but,
That's all right, so half the year we've paid them out so far, 9,220. You double that, that's 18,000.
Where's, is boiler code in the litigation number?
Boland Cove is probably under environmental fees, they can't be, that seems low.
It doesn't-
You
why
put
would
that
it be
under Bowling Cove, where you have that?
I don't know, this is just what we've done, I don't, what does Boiling Code do?
They are our landfill attorneys.
That's
That would be
negotiations.
litigation.
That would be negotiations?
Negotiations. See if that
Litigation.
18,000.
Litigation.
Litigation,
402.
okay, all right, that's in that number,
That
okay,
was- That was my question.
okay. That's the only litigation, okay, thank you. All right,
Yeah.
got it. 15,
So you think 404 is too high? You think they're overcharges?
Negotiation.
for which one, Steve?
Negotiations?
Bond, Shannon, and King.
You said that was way too high?
I think that's, I mean,
Even
we've
in-
saved drastically with the Von Shannon and King type of thing, because we're not, we're paying by the hour,
Yep.
and we never get the $1,900 in a month, never.
But even.
It's usually around $400 or $500. I don't know, I don't know.
Even with it being a negotiation year?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. I guess we'll have a better idea tomorrow, or no,
8,
Monday, right?
I mean, we
following Monday, yeah.
we spent upward, close to 10
We've got
grand.
negotiations again Monday,
6 months.
right?
The 8th,
No, first, we're exchanging proposals on the first.
yeah.
Well, if you're saying,
Nine.
you're saying we're spending $400 or $500 a month, then
Something else is in there.
something's off.
Something else is in there.
You're gonna check that.
I'll look at it.
Okay, let's leave it. We'll see what happens.
Can we go to 15?
Page 15, hang on one second. I got all my pages backwards. Okay, go ahead.
The general fund supports the community center in South Park, okay?
Right?
We also, because the tax stabilization reserve is in the general fund, we also have to transfer the tax stabilization money to the highway. So the 110,000 is the portion of highway funds being used, the tax stabilization reserve being used by the highway, okay? Then I believe the 510, 953 will probably be less now because they just adjusted the community center budget. So that'll probably be less. The monies with Vince's Park should stay the same. So that's the amount of money we're moving to help those budgets meet their needs, okay? Then on page 18.
Wait a minute, so that's
Yeah,
part of the
that's-
$1.1 million of landfill revenue you're moving, that's how you're
This is
allocating it?
not- No, well, the 110 is part of the tax stabilization reserve that we use.
Okay, the 330, 110 of that's going there,
Right.
okay?
The other two would be either, well, it would be tax, yes, you would be right, it would be landfill revenue, but not all of it, because, well, yeah, landfill revenue would be what is, or taxes, depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
But it's the money that we're moving to the other places to support their budgets.
So can you just explain which of those are from the tax stabilization account?
The only one that's from the tax stabilization reserve right now is the 110,000. We're going to budget 330,000 of the reserve to be used. 110,000 of that is going to the highway.
Okay.
The remaining 220 is staying in the general fund to be used. On page 18.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, so tax stabilization is right there, okay.
Before you move on, so the 71.4 for Vince's Park, that's the appropriations minus the revenue that it brings in? That's what it's costing us at this point to
Part
run.
of what they've got already still in their, that wasn't spent last year, that stayed in their fund balance and in their savings. So the Vince's Park this year is going to use part of their savings, part of revenue that comes in, and part from the town. So, okay.
And then the 55 transfer to the highway, where is that coming from?
You have an old,
I do.
you have the original one?
I do.
Okay, so there's nothing there, okay?
Okay, so there's no transfer into the highway department?
There's 110,000 being transferred to the highway department because by the appropriated reserves. But yeah, it's a different line.
Okay.
Right, and if you look on page 18, this is where we're appropriating the $330,000 out of the tax stabilization reserve to offset what we lower the landfill revenue. That's what I expressed in the budget. Okay?
$330,000 is coming from,
Tax stabilization.
okay, well, you've already spent 110,
Right,
Yes.
so
and
it's,
you're adding 330 more, so,
Not 330 more.
This is just
where
total.
it's reflected in the revenue that
Okay,
we're pulling
yeah.
it out of the reserves.
got it,
And then we transfer.
And then we transfer 110 of that to the highway, or yes, to the highway.
Highway.
And 220 stays in the general fund,
got it.
okay? And the landfill revenue was lowered by 220 in the general fund and by 110 in the highway. The other three, the page 54, 48, and 50, that's actually debt or obligations. So there's really no adjusting those. SW2 is the bridge. And then the B1 is the debt in the village, as well as the retirees from the village. And B2 is the remaining retirees that are outside the village. There are no more retirees being added because now that we're combined, the town is responsible for everybody. Okay, so that's really just telling you can't really adjust those, but they do exist. So there's really no need to go through them. Just telling you that they exist. Now with the bond payment item, the B1, which is on page 48, we are not taxing for the principal payment, we're only taxing for the interest. The bond principal is coming out of their fund balance, their savings. We have enough savings to not have to tax for the principal until that debt is paid off. That's kind of nice. Okay, so that's really it. I looked at it all.
Okay, so by my calculations, it looks like close to 145,000 came out tonight.
Yeah, I'll let you know tomorrow. Wasn't adding it up to the.
So, I don't know, if anybody else was keeping a tally, but it looked like that, how much? Doing a quick
Sounds right, we weren't, but.
ballpark. So, let's just say hypothetically, 130,000 come out, right? That's gonna put us under the tax cap, correct?
Not necessarily, because
Not-
it depends on where you took it out, whether we were taxing for it in the first place. I'll let you know tomorrow.
Well, some big ticket items came out of Parks and Recreation,
Right, so, yeah.
so that's gonna have an impact on it, and,
the one was
You,
70,000.
big ticket item came out of, the 33,000 came out of the general fund for the electricity, right? What was the,
103.
I think was the big one, 73,000. Anyway, it's all out, it's out of the, all out of the, you know, the, yeah.
What you said about if we were taxing, you were talking about things that we wouldn't be considering, would be things that came out of water and sewer, for instance, if that was the case. Yeah, but everything tonight came out of the A fund, or out of, yeah. out of-
Stuff supported by the,
Yeah.
we'll give you a more tomorrow.
But we started the night at 6%?
Yeah,
I really don't think you want to lower the tax rate, but
It's
Oh.
15,000.
we'll see how that
It is what it
shakes out
is.
tomorrow.
Yep. But we've got we've got decisions to make yet tonight that have to take that into account, even if it's just a guess.
well, it's, you know, there's a lot of things that came out of the budget that were just added on, that were, you know, above and beyond in the 10th budget type of thing that aren't normally there. So there's no doubt about that. And that's, philosophical differences. So I think we're gonna, so Bev, what would be the game plan? You would electronically provide us with your figures and recalculate and,
Should have
that-
it late tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon tomorrow, should have that.
okay. So what I'm just saying is, I'm trying to, if we're in agreement, that would be the preliminary budget for the public hearing. Okay? So if we get that tomorrow, we need to, we need to decide if that's what you want to do, if that's going to be the preliminary budget. So you got to answer her email, and once you get the numbers, type of thing. Okay? Because now you're out of time.
Right.
So,
Can we talk a little bit more?
pardon?
Can we talk a little bit more? I would like to take the 300,000 out, diminish the landfill, use of the landfill revenue if we can. I also think, however, that our decision to take money to not fund the reval is probably a good decision for 2022, but I think somehow we've got to start paying for it. So since it's a one-off, since we don't save for revals like we ought to, at least this reval is kind of a one-of-a-kind expense. I would say I'd like to see us take $100,000 of what we would otherwise save in landfill revenue and apply it toward half of the cost of a reval in 2023. But I don't know if we did that, I don't know if this is something that has to be done, decided by us tonight, and how it has to be, it's going to impact what Beth puts out
Well,
tomorrow, or even if people think it's a good idea.
I mean, the money sits in reserve anyways. I mean, we can, 2023 budget, you can appropriate it then. I mean, I don't think it gains anything by saying, let's take some money now to 2020.
Right, except that, 2020,
How are you going to say it? You're going to put it in another reserve?
2023, we're going to be trying to cut more out of the
Sure,
budget.
sure.
So it's going to
But
get
it doesn't
harder and
mean we
harder.
have to. I mean, you got to make the decision, but where the money sits doesn't really.
But if we can appropriate half of it now, I'm still confused about why it's a $200,000 expense if Deb's going to do 1,000 parcels. That really hasn't been answered.
Well, again, the 200,000 was not to exceed 200,000.
Right, but I thought that was with them doing everything. I thought,
That is, yeah, it would not be $200,000, it'd be more in the $170,000 or $165,000 range. Yeah, absolutely.
Can't you take it as savings?
You can take it from any place. I think you're using,
It's already in savings.
I think our.
as you know, you're using money in savings right now, right? In the budget. So when it's all said and done, you're still going to be using about 1.1 million in landfill revenue. You're going to be using about 330,000 from tax relief fund, and you're using about, 200 and some odd thousand in unexpended budget.
Not in the general fund, we're using $481, so that's in the general fund, and some of the other ones.
In the water and sewer.
481.
What your savings is, again, your landfill revenue over time, type of thing. So,
You could also add it to the budget, start it for 2022, but pay for it
Pay
in
for it.
savings. You know, that's.
I just, we're gonna be working hard next year to do what we've accomplished this year, and we made some hard decisions this year. So, and I think, the reason for not doing it in 2022, to me, is still valid. The market is still insane. And I know that would mean that some of our parcels, a lot of our parcels would go undervalued for another year. But you've got new people coming into the community, and you're saying, welcome to Seneca Falls. You bought your house based on what you thought the tax burden was going to be, and then bang, it's a whole lot more. I hope you love our town. So you've got, if we did it in 2022, we bring these up, but we're going to smack the heck out of these people. And it's not enough to say, well, we'll do it again in 3 years and that'll fix that. So to me, waiting until 2023 makes a great deal of sense. Figuring out how to pay for half of that now makes a great deal of sense, because we're going to be budgeting, it's going to be hard decisions again a year from now.
So,
Yeah,
but
you-
when you're doing, I understand the new people, you don't want to put that burden on them, but you're also putting that burden now on the people
I know that, I know
that
that.
are currently here, so you wanna also appreciate those people that still live in your town. You don't wanna push them out to get new people to come in that are paying lower taxes, because eventually they're all gonna have to pay more taxes. So-
Your equalization rate's gonna end up below 80 this year.
Low next year, and it's gonna be even worse, and you don't want it to go down lower. I mean, I see these people that, you know, they've lived here forever, and some of these elderly people, they come in and complain about how much their water bills are and how much their taxes are, and those people are the ones that are suffering. Not everybody that is senior citizens make as much money as the people that are on the town board. So I think you really need to think about those people as well, because that's really affecting your elderly
Yeah.
residents.
They're carrying the burden of what you're not willing to put on those people who bought those new
I know that,
houses.
I know that.
And that you could very well bankrupt somebody because their house is $68,000 worth, but they're paying X amount of dollars, where if you did a reval, the tax rate's gonna go down. Their property may go up, but the tax rate itself is gonna go down, because you're still collecting the same amount of taxes.
Right.
It's just
And it's
shifting
tied into the equalization rate, and what really hurts the most, the town suffers it, but you know what hurts the most is the school district is the one that suffers the most when the equalization rates are so far out of whack.
And it
affects the money you give to the state.
And a lot of the big businesses have pilot agreements, so they're not paying actual taxes so that's not soaking anything up. Like, how many businesses do you have that are bigger that aren't getting taxed? They're doing a payment in lieu of taxes. So that, you don't have that with a lot of people here. And you gotta think of that too. Because the smaller businesses are gonna be going out of business because of the tax rates, because of that type of stuff. So just keep that in mind too.
I think, why don't we wait to see what we're looking at here? Again, my calculations is, significant amount of money tonight. And maybe, maybe we'll get some feedback at the public hearing as well.
And then how about we take 100,000 of that 300,000 that we just cut from landfill revenue and use that to fund.
It's always there though.
A
I guess I
substantial-
don't know where you're going with it, Doug.
No, because it's like you saying, telling Jim last night or Monday night that he didn't lose when he gave the truck his truck went to town to Codes. His budget did lose. So yes, I know that the money is the money, but it's a
But his
question of.
budget is really the Seneca Falls budget. I mean, you can't.
It's.
You can't look at the micro, you gotta look at the macro.
But it is, I mean,
But
you're right,
it
it's
was
all
money the highway
taxpayers' money,
It's all
but it is.
taxpayers' money.
Right,
But it's,
And he's okay, believe me.
of course he is.
All the
I
departments
understand
are
that,
okay.
but to me, it's the highway department lost money when that truck got transferred to Codes. It absolutely was in-house and it didn't impact anything except Jim's budget because he would have gotten revenue from that. So yes, the money that I'm talking about is just, it's money, it's there. But I'm saying there, there's a perception of where things come from, and I'm saying take 100,000 of the 300,000 that we're not using, and set it aside for whether it happens. Maybe we fund it again through leftover the other half through, or the other 2/3 or whatever, or third through leftover landfill money at the end of this year. But and do it in 2022. But I think there are ways to fund it that spread out the pain a little bit. I can be convinced, I guess, about when is the best time to do it, but I haven't been yet. But I think there are ways to pay for that and keep it out of the budget. I think the moment it's done, we should start putting $50,000 or $60,000 a year into the budget to pay for the next one, because it's been far too long since we did this one. But for us, the experience right now is this is kind of a one-off experience because we haven't done it in a long time. I think we figure out a way to pay it in an alternative way. And then when we do it, is going to be that's subject to discussion.
and you might be able to do it based on what we've done so far. Let's just see what it's gonna be and where we are in relationship to that, and then you might only need 50,000, or you might need, a little bit more. I strongly believe that the reeval should be done. I mean, I think we're hurting we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that their taxes are gonna go up, it just means
Right,
that
I
it
know
equals
that.
the taxes out for everybody across the board. Your assessment will go up, but that doesn't mean your taxes go up.
Tax rates should go down.
Tax rate.
Yes, tax rate will go down.
I know that,
Bless
the
you.
public doesn't know that, but yeah. So I just like that, I'd like that kept open, I think we've got options.
All right, that door hasn't closed. Yes, sir.
Kyle Black, Town of James, nothing to do with the landfill. We did our reval. We basically funded the future reval because we doubled our assessed value. Our assessed value went from 76 million to 116 million. We were able to minimally raise taxes and pay for the whole next reval. I would be shocked, I would be shocked if y'all can't do the same. Again, just as a sitting town board member that's gone through the same stuff, that's how we solve that issue, because it's a huge issue for us out there, because we have a lot less people to be able to do it with. So,
Thanks.
another option.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, after the fact, it should pay for
It
itself.
should.
So then Bev will give us an electronic version of the where we are right now, calculating the tax rate, calculating the funds and so forth. And then if you're good with that, reply to all, and then that'll be our preliminary budget, because then Nikki will have to make copies available for the public, and then we'll have our public hearing, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
You know, I think in an era of, or a year of, 5.4% inflation, I think we've done a good job.
Okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You never did make a decision on the zoning code going full-time. Remember
We did
you
not.
said you wanted to review that.
But you left it in the budget, so that decision doesn't have to be made tonight.
It doesn't have to be.
It's in the budget.
The money, the full-time money is in the budget, so that's all we need to
Before
do
the end
right
of
now.
the year, because it's in the budget.
Yeah, I think
Right, we'd have to make a decision before November 20th.
No,
No.
Before January 1st.
Before
Oh,
January 1st.
okay, right,
we
right.
not do it tonight.
You don't want to do that tonight?
No.
And that's what I was saying, you could take that 200,000 by the end of the year out.
It's only 8:30, we got 2 more hours.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Let's second that motion.
What now?
We adjourn.
See? Got me.
Doug voted no, Don voted no.
No, I'm gonna get